Hello again. It's that time of year again. Because the snooker season may be 5 months old, we've already had 10 big events all around the world, but there's an extra sense of anticipation and excitement as we come towards the big 3 Triple Crown events in any given season. This is the one that really lights the fire. And it's the first of them. It's the United Kingdom Championship. For the next 9 days, our base is here in the beautiful city of York. And for the defending champion, Ronnie O'Sullivan, this is his place. It's his home from home. And this is the event that he has ruled for an amazing 8 times.
Good afternoon, everybody, and what an intriguing contest this is.
This is one of the marquee days of sport. Millions and millions of fans tune in to see who's going to win this year's UK Snooker Championships.
Wow, what a shot that is.
What a genius.
He's playing it. He's got it. Absolutely amazing. Well, what a pot. What a pot that was. Pretty contact. What a shot.
What a genius.
Wonderful, wonderful. That is truly incredible.
So here we go, and it's welcome back to Steve Davis and Stephen Hendry, whose names are engraved on that great lump of a trophy, 6 and 5 times respectively. I think it's the chunkiest prize in the game. Beautiful piece of silverware. But there's an awful lot of cash in the game at the moment, happily, Steve. But what about the cachet of events like this one? How does that value?
Yeah, I think here in the UK, we obviously value this tournament as one of the big ones. Historically, I think it was always up there with the World Championship, but things have changed a bit. There's more of a season now, more prize money in a lot of the events. So things have changed. Maybe for the younger players, don't view this in exactly the same way as it used to. And now it's a best of 11. Maybe that's slightly different as well, but still a massive event.
It is indeed. Stephen, you've been present at many of the 10 events so far on the circuit. For you, what changes for the players as they approach this event at the start of the Triple Crown series?
I think all you need to do is just look around this place now. These events are just different. There's a different atmosphere. This time of year, as a top player, this is what gets the juices flowing. You unconsciously in practice start to try a little bit harder. You don't know you are doing, but you are. And then when you walk into an atmosphere like this, then obviously the Masters in New Year, these are different from the other events, you have to say that.
Absolutely. And right up until Thursday night, we didn't know who was going to be here. We knew about the top 16, but 16 qualifiers came through the qualifying in Leicester. And they're joining these 16 players in the elite group here. And there have been a few changes because you'll see at number 15, Chris Wakeland from rugby, stunning run to the International Championship final. And watch out for number 16, China's Xiao Guodong, who's taken 20 years to become an overnight sensation this season. Judd Trump is the number 1 in the world, the reigning world champ. Kyron Wilson is up to 2 in the world rankings as well. And Stephen, for you, who are the men that are going to dominate potentially this one?
All of them.
Oh, I like it.
I don't think you can possibly tell because it's who hits the ground running. Anybody has a poor session, they're out of it. And I think the standard amongst the top players is getting even tighter. So anybody can beat anybody in the best of 11. That's how it seems. Obviously, there are certain players that have a slight psychological advantage.
We've got 9 days to think about this, actually, so this can keep your powder dry.
Yeah.
Let's just inform everybody of who we're going to be watching today. Because on the opening day, what a start for Ronnie O'Sullivan against Barry Hawkins, with whom he's wrestled for Triple Crown titles in both the World and the Masters final, of course. 2 former UK champs on table 2, Shaun Murphy and China's Xiao Xintong, who's back after a suspension. Huge talent who swept to this title 3 years ago, now aiming for a new start as an amateur. Then tonight from 7, Ding Junhui renews his love for this event, 3-time winner, of course, taking on the milkman, Rob Milkins. And the third of China's 8 players in this year's draw is Xiao Guodong, and he's a seeded player for the very first time, up against the angry farmer, Dave Gilbert. Been a few angry farmers in the news in the last week, haven't there? Ronnie is just a couple of weeks, of course, from his 49th birthday, and over the years, well, he's made a habit of taking that trophy home with him as a kind of early birthday present. First did so when he was just shy of his 18th, back in 1993.
You can't take it away from the genius that is Ronnie O'Sullivan. You're just witnessing the greatest genius that's ever picked a snooker cue up here.
feel fantastic, to be honest with you. I'm enjoying my practice and I've worked on a few things and I feel like I'm enjoying playing more than ever. But that doesn't mean I'm going to get results on the match table. It's a completely different ball game, that is, you know. Winning tournaments is, you know, that's a byproduct of if I perform how I know I can. Of course, I'd like to have it, you know, it'd be great, you know, to have 9, it'd be great to have 10, it'd be great to have 10 world titles, you know. The more you want to give me, the better, you know. I'm not going to say no to them, but snooker is not everything to me, although when I get out there, I try my hardest. But for me, you know, it's just about having a good life, enjoying what I do, being in control of everything I do. You know, if I lost here, I've built myself in a way that it wouldn't affect me as much as it might affect other people, you know. So, you know, I'll be here to do my best, and that's all I can do, really. I don't get too eaten up by, you know, I haven't won anything this season. Still a long way to go. Still a long career to go. I could be sitting in another 3 years going, I've got 10 Worlds, 10 UKs, 10 Masters, and you know, that's the conversation we could be having. Or I could be sitting there saying, I fell off the tour, can't play the game, absolute useless, who knows? But that's just life, that's just snooker. You just have to take it on the chin.
Still a long way to go, says Ronnie. That's good news. And the head-to-head reading doesn't make such pretty reading for Barry Hawkins. He's won only 2 of their 20 matches over the years, but it's the first time they've ever squared up in the UK Championship. And watching it are 2 guys in the commentary box who both know what it's like to lift this heavy beast of a trophy, John Parrott and Mark Allen. Afternoon. And, guys, I've got to say, it's Ronnie who really has dominated for much of last season. He's had a relatively quiet start to the term. John, what's your reading of the form that he could bring in here?
Well, we don't really know. I mean, it's been a case of sort of like the lesser spotted O'Sullivan this season. Not really played in many events, ducked out of a couple. From the small sort of sample we've got and evidence of how he's playing, I thought the first 3 frames in his match in the Championship looked brilliant, but then Zhao Guodong was unplayable for the next 4, so we haven't really got a lot of evidence to go on. But what I will say is, when the big tournaments come around, usually the big players turn up.
Mark, lovely to have you with us. I know you're getting ready for your first match tomorrow afternoon, but what do you make of Ronnie's preparations? We know he had 7 weeks off, didn't play in 3 tournaments. What's your reading of the kind of form he might bring today?
Just to echo what John said, really, we don't really know. But what we do know about Ronnie is that he always turns up ready for these big events. 8-time UK champ. I think he'd be one to hit the ground running here, and it doesn't read too good for Barry. No, only 1 win in the last 22 years against Ronnie. Yeah, tough ask. But if he believes in himself, you never know. Barry's a class act too. OK, finally, John, in a word, for you, who's the winner this week? Sorry to throw that at you.
I'm with Steve Davis. We're going to sit on the fence and get splinters because I think anybody could win this. Even though Mark's next to me, I think I have a big chance. But really, this is wide open. That's what's going to make it great to watch through the entire week.
OK, thank you, gentlemen. We're all set. Time to get to our brilliant MC, Mr. Rob Walker.
Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. At this time of year in our sport, all roads always lead back here to Yorkshire and back here to the Barbican for the big one. After 6 scintillating days of qualifying, 32 of the finest players on the planet are ready to go toe-to-toe for one of snooker's ultimate titles. Welcome to the Victorian Plumbing UK Championship. Please welcome a player who scorched through 4 matches at the qualifiers to return to the event. He won in such fine style 3 years ago, China's Zhao Xintong. And his opponent, making his 16th appearance in the last 32 of the UK champs, winner of 12 ranking crowns, including this title in Telford in 08, already a finalist in this season's Shanghai Masters, a class act on and off the bays, Sean the Magician Murphy. On table 1, here comes a 4-time ranking event winner who first appeared at this stage of the UK Champs 20 years ago. A world finalist, a Masters finalist, a brilliant break builder at his best. Here comes the eagle-eyed Barry Hawkins. To the greatest player in history, the youngest, oldest and most prolific winner this event has ever known, the one and only Rocket, Ronnie O'Sullivan.
So here we go. It's the best of 11 frame matches for much of the week in York. Standalone, one-session mini-dramas. A reminder that the Murphy-Zhao game is live on the iPlayer and BBC Sport website with John Virgo and Ken Doherty. But for now, it's the Rocket against the Hawk. And it's John Parrott and Mark Allen. All yours, fellas.
Thank you, Hazel, and welcome to everybody to this wonderful theatre, Barbican in York. Fantastic venue, has been for many years. And it's been a venue that this man, Mr. O'Sullivan, has been the king of. But he's not played much, Mark. Be interested to see what happens today.
Yeah, like I said in the preview, I think he's going to be ready for this. He's always ready for these Triple Crown events. What reception all 4 players got, but in particular Ronnie. And makes your hair stand in the back of your neck, doesn't it?
Yeah, he's something a bit different, isn't he? As I say, we're talking about the fact that he's not played much snooker, but you've got to remember this is a man who had a 12-month sabbatical from the game of snooker, turned up, took his cue out of the case and won a world championship. So
doesn't say much for the rest of us, does it?
Well, all it says about him is he does different, and always has done. That's actually a pretty decent break there. Not an easy path back into the balk area.
I think he's worried that if he plays the dump shot on either side, he could leave the red nearest the black.
Yeah, I think the red that's just sort of below the pink where there's a gap. I'm not sure he thinks there is a gap there. He might contact the other red off the pack, so it's this instead. And that will work. If in doubt, just knock it in.
Nothing like a potluck pack just to sell you down. It's the early part of the match. Has a brilliant piece of ball striking there.
A little bit of time to deliberate that shot, but when he got to play in it, got all the concentration, and wonderful way to start. Interesting to see that he's got himself sort of sorted out technique-wise, Mark. I know he's been with a couple of people lately. He's a couple of coaches, I think. He may have been working, or started working a few weeks ago with Lee Walker, who is obviously in Mark Williams' camp. So he's always searching for things.
I think that shows the perfectionist in Ronnie, doesn't he? Like, people from the outside think that he doesn't need any work and doesn't need any help. He's always trying to improve.
30.
And Lee's done an amazing job with Mark Williams in recent years. And it's an interesting match-up, that one. I didn't see it coming, but it could sometimes just give Ronnie that little bit of focus or something to just work on the practice table that helps you concentrate. And he doesn't need much, Ronnie, does he?
No.
20.
As I say, you've got to try and have some ways to keep motivation as well when you've been playing as long. Sometimes if you learn something a little bit different, it
21.
re-energises.
I think no matter who you are and what you've won in the game, sometimes you just need a little pat on the back and say, you know what, you're actually a really good player, mate. You'll just get out there and play. And I can't imagine Lee's going to impart too many words of wisdom that Ronnie hasn't heard before.
28.
But sometimes hearing it from a new person's exactly what you need.
29.
Well, promising already. Going about this beautifully, as per normal. Now, as the split. Not great.
Yeah, just
36.
didn't quite zip through that cue ball that you expect from Ronnie. He has still got a red into the left centre. Quite a narrow angle. On first glance, I think it's a free go. He's not going to leave much. And these middles are viciously tight.
I was going to say they look simple there, but these are tricky. Lovely shot. Looking very ominous already.
Yeah, great opening red. Good control of the cue ball so far. Nice pot into the centre. If this red goes in and he gets on a colour, it could be very, very quickly 1-0.
44.
Yeah, this quality of break building is just outstanding. No messing. Went into the pack first time, gone in again. Just makes the job so much easier for yourself when you keep putting the balls into potable positions. Never misses an opportunity to get into the pack.
45.
Even that shot there was a better shot than it looked. So easy to impart a bit of unwanted side, queuing down on the ball. Not the nicest of cannons off that red.
Yeah, a little awkward, but I suppose good news is that drops it in. That red in the middle is waiting. And I thought Barry Hawkins' break was pretty good, to be perfectly honest with you, but it's not looking like that at the moment.
$51.
That shot looked so effortless, but I tell you, there wasn't much to aim for there, and he's played that with a bit of pace as well. It's an extremely ominous start here from Ronnie.
56. 57.
Yeah, you can't hit it better than this. It's just been absolutely wonderful cue ball as per normal. One red in the middle that was tricky, but was negotiated, and once again into the pack, opening the balls into play. It's just another level of break building.
64.
And you see there how aggressive Ronnie is. He didn't need to actually play that because he's 64 in front, just needs another red in the colour. He didn't actually need to open those, but he just wants to clear the table, doesn't want to give Barry a sniff.
$65.
Yeah, take the green. Got a nice area to play down. Red in the middle, either pink or bottom red of the three. Play in that area.
$68.
Already, Barry Hawkins finds himself 1-0 down. And he's only broke off.
69.
Yeah, it's tough school, isn't it?
He really is hitting it lovely. It's a
76.
very early sample, but if there's more to come like this,
77.
he's in serious form.
I don't know how you guys feel as commentators and pundits, but us players still think Ronnie is the benchmark. He's world number 5, but I think that if there was ever a case that the rankings lie, that's it right there. No, I think he is the ultimate benchmark.
Absolutely.
88.
That's not meant in a disrespectful way to Judd and Kyron, who've been dominating at the minute, but
89.
Now, what
Just
you look
effortless.
at, what you look at with players is when they play the best, isn't it? That's what you'd look at. And when they all play the best, he is the best.
95.
The frame's been running for
96.
8 minutes and 5 seconds. The first shot probably took Ronnie about a minute or a minute and a half to decide, and this blue goes in. We're already at their first century of the tournament. Amazing stuff.
103.
What I love about watching Ronnie is he doesn't do anything that any other player can't do. It's just how easy he makes it look. It's ridiculous at times.
Yeah, it's like anything when it's done at its absolute best in whatever sport. When it looks simple, it's because the player doing it is that good. And this has just
115.
been exemplary from start to finish. If you want to start a snooker match, folks, this is how you do it. Wonderful cue ball control, wonderful touch. And was there any doubt that these were all going? I don't think so. Fantastic performance from Ronnie O'Sullivan. Wonderful long break to start that break. Century in the first frame. 1-0 to Ronnie.
Do you think he's up for it? Certainly looks like it. Ronnie O'Sullivan in there with what is his 12th century of the season. He's not really hitting the heights in terms of his scoring so far, but this is obviously a great start from Stephen.
Well, I mean, he's not played. That's why he's not scoring set. If he'd played in 3 tournaments, he would have probably doubled that. But just you sometimes hear people, oh, you need to relax into a match, get into a match, you know, settle. The very best players don't need to settle. They're ready, like a coiled spring, ready to go. And that was clearly what Ronnie was there, a coiled spring.
Absolutely. Impressions for you of that, Steve?
Well, apart from peaking too early, no. Barry Hawkins must be saying, well, I made a good break-off, and it was maybe good enough a break-off that it forced Ronnie's hand and had to go for that long pot, which he successfully knocked in beautifully. And then it was Ronnie O'Sullivan as usual. And if there's any possibility that the top players have a little bit of a disadvantage coming into this event as the top 16, where the other players have had their practice in the build-up, he's negated that immediately.
Yeah, absolutely. It is fascinating because Mark and John were at pains to point out that we weren't really sure what we were going to get here because obviously at the Champion of Champions, which you were working at last week, he had a good start against Zhao Guodong, but really didn't get a sniff thereafter. Yeah. So we weren't clear what was going to be happening here.
He looked sharp. In those first 3 frames against Zhao Guodong, he won 3 frames to 0 return, and he looked very, very sharp. Obviously, we've said he's working with Lee, and it seems to be going really, really well. I think Ronnie gets a buzz from getting a new coach and learning something new. It gives him the sort of impetus to practice. And yeah, I mean, as I say, they just look flawless there, doesn't it?
Yeah, so far so good.
Ronnie gets us underway in frame 2. Barry will be eager to stamp his authority in this game as quickly as Ronnie did, and looks a pretty good break off. This red is potable, but he has to dig down, hit it quite hard if he's going to try and play it with an element of safety. Otherwise, it's all out attack and play for the black, but he's leaving everything.
Is he looking at the dump shot, is he? I think it might be playing the dump shot, but I mean, there's some pressure on that if he's taking on, wouldn't he, that pot after you just hadn't had a shot, well, 1 shot in the first frame.
Yeah, I think the dump shot's the right shot. You've seen the form that Ronnie's in, you don't want to give him any easy opportunities.
That red does pot, but well, he was having a little look initially, but too risky, you would think. He'll have the ultimate respect for his opponent. I know we spoke about the record beforehand, 18 matches to 2 in Ronnie's favour, but he knows Barry Hawkins is a terrific match player. These two have actually played in 2 major finals, World Championship. Ronnie's beat Barry, and he beat him in the Masters final as well, so shows you the quality we've got on show when they're playing in the last 32 match. Tell you what, there's some games this week, Mark, isn't there? That draw.
Yeah, I know it's very cliche, but it's a lot of our first round matches there. It could be finals. You've got Judd Trump against Neil Robertson, Mark Selby against Jack Lazowski, Mark Williams against Stuart Bingham. Yeah, and this one that we're watching right now, just shows the strength and depth in the game right now. It's a good time for the sport. Safely had to hit them thick, didn't quite control where the reds were going. He has left an easy starter for Barry.
Yeah, that was a poor one by his standards. It was a pretty big target behind green and brown, it has to be said there, but hit that too thick. So pressure here, but what can you do, Barry, on your first visit?
1.
Oh, that's beautifully played. Lovely controlled shot. Pushing first, didn't let the cue ball run away. Really nice that was. Well, this is the level you're playing at. You've just seen your opponent clear the table. Now it's your turn. What can you do?
8. Nine.
I think it's very important here for Barry not to get too far ahead of himself. It's easy to think, right, I need to make a big break here and get level straight away, but if you take your mind off the next shot at any time, you can come unstuck. Still 6 open reds there available.
16. $17.
Been a really top-class match player
24.
for a long time as Barry. Really nice economical cue action. Cue ball tends not to travel too much in his break building. Got a good touch.
25.
He can certainly score when he gets going. So he's an opponent you need plenty of respect for, and Ronnie knows that, despite the record.
He's had quite a steady season already, Barry. Not got to the sort of semis or final or anything, but he's only lost once in the first round. He's been very, very consistent, getting through quite a few rounds. His game seems at a real good level. Won both his qualifying matches for here quite comfortably, 6-1 and 6-3.
33.
He'll be confident.
Yeah, it hasn't always been the case with him as well. I mean, you look back a few seasons, man, for whatever reason, he didn't seem to play very well before Christmas or the New Year, did he? Quite a few times in his seasons he's had slow starts, but he seems to be better. Certainly this year, you've mentioned his record, so...
He always came back with an amazing tan, though, didn't he?
40.
Maybe that's part to do with it.
Yeah, but he used to struggle a little bit before Christmas for some bizarre reason, and then his game had come really roaring back, so he'll be happy he's in better form before Christmas.
41. $48.
He's going to have to think very soon about getting into the reds. Just 2 more loose ones. He will need 2 of the bunch of reds if he's going to win the frame this visit.
49.
This could be the one. Good angle. It's important to not hit this too hard. Hit this too hard, you widen the angle, miss the pack completely. Medium pace if he does slip off them. He's got the red on the right hand side of the table. Let's back up. He's lost the cue ball. He is still on a red. Is there a plant around the pink spot? In some ways, John, I think the plant is actually easier than that loose red, even though it's not set. he might be able to play this in a way that he can run through the other reds for the black again.
Well, you know what he's done already. He's got 7 blacks, so... Well, looks like he's going to hit down on it to make the plant. And he has.
57.
And the chance, or any chance of a maximum, has just gone there with that red coming down and covering the pocket for the black. So priority now is win the frame. Forget that, it's gone. He was chasing it, you could tell.
Just needs to avoid the brown up and down. Oh, he's missed the pink.
Barry Hawkins, 57.
The only saving grace for Barry is that the reds covered the black in his previous shot. He was looking good there for a while.
Yeah, he'll be kicking himself with that one. That was a pretty poor miss. As I say, it was just a natural angle to go up and down, so it was just drop the pink in. He'd be disappointed to miss that one.
1.
So here's the puzzle. There's the reds in the position there. One near the right-hand side cushion, one near the black, as Mark mentioned. Can he solve the puzzle and clear up for 2-0? He usually finds the answer.
I think he's just a little too thin on the pink to be able to control the cue ball. I think he needs that to travel.
3.
That red just passes. I'm wondering, has he got an angle just to go through and kick that red away from the black? He doesn't feel like he has.
4.
And if that's straight, it's no good.
Yeah, it was interesting, that one. He didn't take the chance there and put all his eggs in one basket playing that little cannon, so he had a better chance going this way. It's just come a little straight for comfort.
$10.
Is the screw cannon on to flick the red away? No.
11.
Could have been tempted by that one as well.
What I like about the previous shot is bringing that pink down the table. You can keep closer control of the cue ball for the next few shots. Trying to get a better angle to get that red away from the black. If he was working off blues and ball colours, it would have been much more difficult.
17.
Don't feel like he'd play it this time. He has got an angle, but he'd be pushing the red to the cushion and leaving the white low on the black, which is not ideal.
18.
That double kiss has worked out perfect.
So there's one awkward red removed. Could have done with another couple of rolls on that cue ball.
25.
This is a tricky little pot in the corner now. A lot thinner than it looks on your screen.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 25.
Yeah, it was a bit awkward, that. Just came up a bit short with the cue ball.
Yeah, that one wasn't the bad shot. It was the previous one, wasn't it? That red was more than missable. He's left the chance for Barry again.
One.
White has travelled nicely. The black and one more red will be enough to leave Ronnie needing snookers in this frame.
Yeah, he'd be delighted to be back at the table, Barry. He must have been sitting there thinking, there's an O'Sullivan clearance coming my way, but
8.
had a reprieve.
9.
Good pot, that. Very good pot. I'll be breathing a sigh of relief there. Both players looking pretty good, Nick.
Yeah, and getting that second chance in this frame will quickly
16.
help Barry forget about that pink that he missed. Definitely did it. Both looking good, Nick. Warming up nicely.
17. $23. Barry Hawkins, 23 and a 5.
Ronnie gives a knock from his chair, and Barry Hawkins will be a very relieved man for the second chance in that frame, and levels up the match at 1 frame all.
We certainly have got you covered, and in fact, Seema Jaswal will be on air at 7 o'clock, BBC 4 tonight with the evening session. So we're very much looking forward to seeing everything with you live over the next few days. I'm sure Barry Hawkins will be very much enjoying that frame because, as the guys were saying, second chance very well taken in the end by him, though.
Yes, let off the hook a little bit by Ronnie O'Sullivan. Looked like he was going to be clearing up, but he played one shot where he got out of position. Maybe the table, the cloth not playing that quickly. It's pretty cold up here, pretty miserable and wet.
Cold today.
Maybe that's affecting conditions slightly. And if you've got to hit the ball hard, then the pockets get even tighter.
Yeah, it's not a record that Barry Hawkins will have spent a great deal of time trying to analyse because he's only won 2 out of 20 matches in this head-to-head series. But he of course has beaten this man Ronnie O'Sullivan in a very key match at the Crucible a few years back, so he knows it can be done. And of course the Hawk is one of the great solid players of our time. Currently ranked world number 20, but has been a stalwart of the top 16 for many years before this. Back we go.
Yeah, thank you, Hazel. And what we can see so far this afternoon is they're both looking very good, Nick, with their games. I think his opening century was pure class. And a good response from Barry there. Okay, has to have a second chance, but took it well.
It was a very good break off from Barry Hawkins, but what a return from Ronnie. Perfect cue ball. Another brilliant shot.
Yeah, some good stuff at the minute. Safety-wise, cue ball not far from that ball cushion with every shot. Digging down a little bit. Barry thinks he can have a dig at that second red and bump it round the angles round the back of the black, but takes a good bit of cue in this.
He's nearly forced into this red because Ronnie's covered that side of the table with the yellow.
Yeah, it wasn't a particularly good strike, that. Very thick. He certainly flicked a bit aside on there, digging down. Has he left a gap for Ronnie to get through? Say, not the best of strikes, this. Or is there a plant? Yeah, he can get through the gap.
One.
Just wondering, does the black go past the red directly above it into the left corner?
Yeah, and the one above it certainly comes into the other pocket, so
6.
you can see the black is possible. Probably could have done with half a roll on the cue ball there just to push the other red through for the black there, but may not be able to get on it now.
7.
That red and bulk there helped massively in that shot. If he'd have hit that any harder to be topside, he would have canned the reds. But he knew he had that red and bulk. Played that red nicely. Ronnie's just trying to work out the puzzle of the reds around the black.
13.
If the red goes left centre, he can just float the white down the right hand side of the table. He'll have a choice of red at the centre, or hopefully the one by the black. That's the one he wants to get on.
He could hold the cue ball then. I was like you there, Mark, thinking there was a bit more angle there, but bit into the cue ball and held it beautifully.
19.
Slightly wide, but wobbled in.
$26. 27.
On about leaving an angle after this red so that he can go into the cluster.
34. 35.
May have to put a bit of force into this one, Mark.
Yeah, that wasn't the best of shots. He's a little bit lower than he would have liked.
It's sort of easy for the cue ball to run away if you don't get into the white.
Yeah, just like that. The bad shot was the red. He should have been a little straighter, hit the meat of the pack, but
42.
I think that might be end of break. And he'd be disappointed because he worked that out well to get that black free.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 42.
Oh, will it keep running? No. But is it full ball? Oh. Tricky that, isn't it?
I know he didn't control that red as well as he would have liked, but he's a little unfortunate to leave this gap between yellow and blue. Just a fraction of side needed.
1.
Good shot.
Yeah, it's well played. He couldn't hit that much harder because he'd have swerved the cue ball out and maybe contacted the blue there, so I had to play that with a little bit of finesse.
I'll tell you what, if he's taken down to go into these reds from there, this is a difficult black. Yeah, he hit that a bit thick. That was not an easy shot at all there.
8.
I don't know whether he's got an escape down to the balk area. Looking at that, probably not. You just have to touch the cue ball.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 8.
May have left a shot to nothing here. 2 reds that are just to the left and above the black. And if one of them clips in the corner, it does go.
Yeah, there was no attempt at the pot there from Ronnie. Trying to find that gap. Didn't want to count on the yellow, but no immediate damage done, but it's given the initiative to Barry in the safety exchange. We can get that white over towards the green side of the table. Cover one of the roots back to bulk.
Yeah, also get one of the reds off the cushion as well. 50 points behind, that'll help. Put it in a better possible position, bring it back into play. So there's a 50-point lead here, but it's a very dangerous table. He does get a visit. Not beyond the bounds of possibility. He could put a big dent in that 50-point lead.
Yeah, he could do, but he'd be disappointed with that safety shot to leave that edge for Ronnie. Bit of body steering helped out around the blue there, I think. That's a good safety shot from there.
Yeah, it was like an example of a bit of chess there. Barry should have had his man in trouble a lot worse, but didn't, and now the next move's put him back in it. And that's why he's gone and done that.
One. Six.
What always amazes me about when people talk about Ronnie and how he plays the game.
7.
Rightfully so, they talk about his scoring and how fast he plays, but his safety's immaculate at times too. That was a great return to put Barry in all sorts of trouble there to create this chance.
Yeah, he knew, didn't he? As I say, I mentioned it was a bit like a bit of chess, that was, and his opponent didn't play the move he should have made. And he took the opportunity to put him in trouble,
12.
and Barry's miss-hit resulted in this visit.
$13.
Struck that one beautifully.
16.
Back in perfect position. Just in need of this red.
17.
There's been no big break in this frame, but it's been very, very good from O'Sullivan again.
23.
Yeah, broke down on 42, which was not
24.
like him, but the match play side of it, as you say, has just been one shot when Barry should have put him in trouble. The return was what Barry didn't want to see, and his mistake consequently was meant to end the frame. Won't be too worried
Ronnie
about
O'Sullivan,
that.
24.
There'll be a nod
End
from
of
Barry, and he had a good match play situation there. O'Sullivan got the top in the match play. Barry made the mistake, and now Ronnie leads by 2 frames to 1.
So once again, the Rocket in the ascendancy, and it does give us a little bit of time to chat about what's going on in Ronnie's life in terms of the coaching. You mentioned Lee Walker, with whom he started to work about 3 weeks ago, something like that, Stephen. Now, of course, Lee has been transformational in the career of a certain Mark Williams.
Yeah.
And isn't it fascinating that they're going to share this guy's brilliant technique and talent? What's your view on it all?
I mean, it just shows you that Ronnie notices everything. He notices what people do. He's watching Mark. His game is transformed. He's playing so well, unbelievable last week. And he's thought, you know, I fancy a bit of that. He obviously likes tinkering. He likes to find little things that might improve. He's always searching for perfection. And Lee is proven to be a big success, certainly with Mark. And he looks to be, I think they started about a month ago, possibly in China, something like that, working together. Look, as long as he doesn't coach him to win an 8th world title, all good.
Absolutely. But it's incredibly generous, I guess, from Mark's perspective.
Care, yeah.
It is amazing, because you would imagine that there would still be a rivalry between the two of them. I mean, they've been in this business for a very long time, but it's remarkable in itself in that regard.
Well, it depends what the exclusivity contract
Well,
would have
indeed.
been. But no, I think it is nice to, we're all in the same boat as players, and Lee Walker's a player as well, of knowing how difficult it is to maintain that form. So you're always searching for something, and if you can get another player, an ex-player who's a coach, it feels like you've got an added bonus, because they understand all of the difficulties. So those maybe have a premium, but it's not always the case that a good player can become a good coach, because there are other things involved as well.
From what you know, from what you're hearing, is Lee teaching anything different, or is it a question of tapping into the respective psyche and games of the guys that he's working with?
I think he's obviously, Lee worked a lot with Stephen Feeney, was sight right in the beginning. I think he's taken it in a different way. It's a similar sort of coaching, I think, but he's taken it his own way. And I think, as Steve said, working with another player is cool as well, because even if you're not talking technical in the dressing room, you can talk about things that go on in the snooker table that only other snooker players would get. Yeah. But yeah, I think he's relevant. And I say, Ronnie's always he's always searching for something, isn't he? And I spoke to Mark at the Champions. He was like, he says, yeah, I'm demoted. I'm number 2 now. He says he's taking over. Ronnie's number 1. But they're best of friends. Mark doesn't. He honestly doesn't bother.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Well, he's back, and it'll be interesting to see the impact that the coaching of Lee Walker is having on this man. I think it's fascinating from what you're saying, Stephen, that he's still learning, he's still keen to learn, and he's still keen to progress in this game, despite everything that he's achieved over the years. Back we go.
Yeah, thanks, Hazel. Fascinating stuff from the boys in the studio, and yeah, it is interesting that, as I say, it wouldn't bother Mark Williams anyway, would it? Whether who was coaching him or whatever, Mark's just that laid back, he wouldn't be bothered about anything.
Yeah, nothing gets to Mark, does it really? It's a great attitude to have.
Be interesting if they play each other, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it wouldn't be a lot of fun for Lee, I don't think, given his relationship with Mark. But if he's as professional as I expect him to be, then you don't sort of give any trade secrets away whenever you're in the dressing room with the other person.
Yeah.
And you have to have that trust with your coach, don't you?
Absolutely. I remember a couple of seasons back, was it Chris Henry had Mark Selby and Sean Murphy in a world final, having to go into both dressing rooms and give a team talk. You know, that was you knew you were going to get a bonus off one and a sack off the other.
Yeah, and that's when you have to be completely objective and just deal with each person individually of how they're feeling and what they're going through at that time, not giving anything away from the other person. That was a chance for Ronnie. It was another very, very good break-off though, wasn't it? The pace on all 3 break-offs has been really, really good. He has left the red this time for Barry. Test the Q&S perfectly straight. Black goes in the opposite corner.
Yeah, these are confidence builders, aren't they? Mid-range, little stun.
1.
Watch the cue ball though. Got the pot, but not great with the cue ball. It's almost like he put all his concentration into the pot there, wasn't it?
Yeah, he's probably thinking just pot this and you're guaranteed to be on the black, but you have to time it well. Didn't quite time it as well as he would have liked. It might sound like a lot, but you don't get many opportunities against Ronnie, and you have to make the most of these half chances that you're given.
You notice the likes of that shot he plays, it never plays it plain ball. There's always a little bit of side flicked on. He's always using the cushions, and you know, you do get the cue ball for whatever reason. You can get it closer to a cushion than just playing plain ball up and down. But his touch is so good that when he plays figure of eights, the cue ball just seems to be really close to the ball cushion, which makes the return more difficult.
I think the thing with the way Ronnie plays the safeties with that element aside is that there's a lot more feel involved. There's nothing technical. It's just a feel how much side is going to throw. I think he feels as long as he strikes where he's aiming, he's very, very rarely going to hit a ball thick, which is the one thing that we're all trying to avoid.
Not snookered here. That brown is actually a reasonable target to get in behind if you can get one thin enough. I don't know whether he can do it from here, but it's a nice target. Wasn't on with that shot. Decided to play something else, but it could come into play.
That was a very good shot from Barry. I think if he had a risk thin one that you talked about, he would have been pushing one over the pocket.
Absolutely.
There's obviously an edge sticking out. Oh, there wasn't an edge. He's tried to play that with a bit of side. Missed it on the way down. I think he's not left much. One above the black does go, but this is not easy. Could have left something a bit more straightforward than this.
Yeah, and the way he's going to play this, it's not really a shot to nothing, because the cue ball is going to come up the table. There's a red in the balk area and one sticking out on the left, so I'll have to knock this in. Well, wasn't easy, that's for sure, and played it in such a way that he's made the next shot more difficult. Played with an element of safety involved in it. There is a pot for Ronnie on the left-hand side here. Good cueing required, though.
One.
Just can't hit it any better than that. So easy to hit that thick cueing down from the other cushion. Struck it absolutely beautifully.
Yeah, see, that's the type of shot I think that if you're working with Lee, as we mentioned, that you've got to hit the middle of the cue ball there. You've got to hit that really good. Otherwise you miss those for fun. So that was a lovely piece of cueing. And there's one at the bottom of the pack there that does go. So we play this with plenty of force. Screw back. Amazingly, he missed it. Didn't see that coming, Mark.
Yeah, he just got down and played that very quick, didn't he? That required a bit of attention. Didn't land as nicely on that red as he would have liked, and still didn't expect him to miss it. What he has done is open up more reds. Barry can get this first red. It's a big chance. And he knew it. wasn't the greatest delivery in the world.
Yeah, it's almost as if Barry's knowing how important it is at the moment.
It's just another part of the challenge of playing Ronnie, isn't it? That mental challenge that you feel like every opportunity is more important than what it actually is. Because you're going to get fear, or it seems that you're going to get fear. Try to drive the little shot. Has to be a lot of trust in your technique and the table when you're playing a shot like that. That one seemed to bounce a little bit off that black rail. I wasn't happy with how that reacted there, Ronnie. It did seem to come off a bit faster than it went on.
Extended spider or just a normal spider?
Well, blow me over with a feather that he'd be using an extended spider after being on the black perfectly for his next shot. Something went awry there. We'll need the extension, just slightly awkward to reach.
The interesting thing about Ronnie, he never carries his own extensions, doesn't it? He would probably only need the little 6-inch one for this. So easy to do that. You're never really sure how far away you are from the cue ball. And part a bit outside, and you made it look a bit silly.
Yeah, it wasn't one of those quite a little bit awkward for a right-hander there as well, the way he was playing it. But anyway, he's missed it, and well, Barry, you can't keep giving up the chances that you're getting. And this is a pretty decent one. Oh. Very unusual.
One.
Hit that one almost too good. A little bit blind pocket with the brown. Absolute natural angle to come round the angles for the red that's over the middle pocket, so it's just concentrate on the potting angle into a blind pocket. So he's decided he's going to play the yellow instead, which is slightly more awkward cueing, but at least you can see the pocket. And you can bang it in like that.
Yeah, I think the worry with the brown was that if he just dropped it in, he would have been nicely on the red, but probably couldn't have done much with the red at a thin angle, so took the more difficult yellow. Great base of cueing.
4.
Back in absolutely perfect position.
And the bad news for his opponent, he'll be sitting there in his chair, kicking himself for the opportunities he's had, and he knows full well Ronnie will get stronger if he sees he's not going to get punished. A couple of very poor misses by his standards. He's a top-class player as Barry, but occasion seems to be getting to him at the minute a little.
12.
Difficult, I know, but you've got to forget who you're playing.
Yeah, it's a nice pack to go into for Ronnie. For this black, even if he screws off them and loses the white a little, he'll have the red over the other side of the table. Controlled that perfectly.
19.
Did you see Barry when he missed that last one, sort of looking at his arm as if to say, like, you didn't do what I wanted you to do, and it's tough out there. I keep saying it, but when you're playing Ronnie, every small mistake is just magnified because he punishes you so well, whether that
27.
be with a real good return on a safety or just to clear the table. That's why I've always said he's the ultimate
28.
test. Tests all parts of your game, mentally as well. And it is early in this match, but it's worrying signs for Barry. He's had chances.
Yeah, this is a very hurtful frame for Barry Hawkins.
35.
Somebody goes and plays like they did in the first frame, where Ronnie, off your break off, made a
36.
century. That's fair enough, but he's had 2 or 3 dips in this frame. Hasn't managed to negotiate any of them. It wasn't the best piece of position from Ronnie there either. Just run the cue ball a bit too much, but shouldn't be a problem. But you know, if your opponent is that good, sometimes you say, well, well done, mate. But he's had chances here, has Barry.
Yeah, well, he's a little fortunate there, Ronnie. He didn't play that cannon. He's tried to play the red on the right-hand side of the table.
$44.
He's already just a few balls away from winning this frame again. I'd say Barry will go straight to the practice table here in the interval just to get his arm going again. You can see he's
50.
struggling a little bit with his technique.
51.
Just want to get that confidence, don't you, John? Just see the ball get in again.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Probably will do. He's just, well, just not done his stuff. He's one of the best match players we have on tour, but
56.
this last frame has been, you have to say it, not very good.
57.
But still, it's best of 11. Intervals can change matches, so you have to come out with a different attitude after the interval, but he just needs to pot the balls he's used to potting.
64.
Because he's better than this frame.
$65.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to think of how you played to get yourself here. He's obviously been doing good stuff on the qualifying matches and throughout this season already. He's played a lot of good stuff. Match is far from over.
72.
But Ronnie looks in real good form. It's easy to highlight the mistakes Barry's made, but Ronnie's capitalised very, very well. And like you said earlier, he's just going to keep getting stronger. Absolutely no fear of the winning line from Ronnie O'Sullivan.
79.
Ronnie just made me out to be a
80.
liar there as well, because I didn't think he carried one of those 6-inch extensions. My hopes are good this week with my eyesight.
$87.
So it looks like it's going to be
$89.
century number 2 of the afternoon for Ronnie O'Sullivan. Absolutely no reason why he should clear up from here.
92. $96.
I'll be happy with the way it's gone so far. Okay, missed 1 or 2, not many. His opponent, on the other hand, is going to press the reset button
101.
as the century goes in. Appreciated by the Barbican audience.
107.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with this man's cue ball, as per normal. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant century break.
Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Ronnie O'Sullivan been fantastic this afternoon so far. Barry Hawkins, well, he knew he had a big match on anyway, but he'll go to the practice room, have a few knocks around, trying to get back into the rhythm. But it's O'Sullivan who leads by 3 frames to 1.
He does, the defending champion being able to boss this match against Barry Hawkins, just as he's kind of bossed their record over the years, hasn't he? Because that surely is a kind of debilitating factor from Barry's perspective every time he comes up against this man.
Yeah, I mean, it's not all over, but it feels like it is, because Ronnie seems like he's very comfortable playing against Barry Hawkins, and why not when that's the record? And Barry just doesn't seem to be the same player against him, so that's a problem. You're playing the table, you're not playing the player, but sometimes, and for some players, it's difficult to remember that.
How do you change the narrative with all of those things that are seemingly against you, and you might start to think the same thing is happening, as just as it's done many other times?
I don't think he can. I don't think he can. I think it's just gone on too long. The scars are so deep playing Ronnie. I don't think Barry can get out of it. It was strange because the second frame he looked great because Ronnie had not missed the ball in the first frame. Then when Ronnie started to miss a couple, then Barry then he started to miss a couple. It's almost like he knows what to do. He thinks he has to play perfect snooker to beat Ronnie, which he doesn't. So you sort of get into that little shock when Ronnie's missed, and then you think, oh, I've got a chance of winning. And that seemed to put him on a more negative note.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing you can do is to not put up with it and to try and effect change and to do something about that. And that's going down sports psychology roads. Yeah. And I don't know if Barry does do that or not. But if you were that bothered about that and so frustrated, you need to try and change it. But as you know, the habit is there, though.
Yeah, OK. Well, we've got 15 minutes or so in which to try and effect some change. Now, since the start of this new season, Snooker has lost two of its best-loved and best-known faces and voices. Now, at the age of 91, the wonderful Ray Reardon, the Welshman who was a remarkable man, a six-time world champion, who was still making centuries into his 10th decade, passed away earlier this year in July. And in September, the esteemed broadcaster and journalist and a former colleague of ours, Clive Everton, also passed away at the age of 87. Both men's skill and passion for this game was absolutely fundamental in popularising this great sport and bringing it to brand new audiences. Ray Reardon, one of the true stars of snooker. His tough, tactical, uncompromising game was always delivered with a disarming and charming smile.
If he was a Welsh rugby player or football player, he'd have statues all around Wales, you know, in the cities, because he's one of the best Welsh sportsman we've ever had. You know, Ray Reardon and snooker, he sort of put it on the map from the start, really. Always known as a, you know, funny character and just a great fella.
Known to many as Dracula because of his distinctive widow's peak hairline, he transformed from brilliant young potter into supreme tactician, cloaked in wit and winks to the audience.
I'm doing it to attract attention. I mean, this is free. Sell yourself. I mean, you've got to pay a lot of money to get on television. I can do it for nothing.
Ray Reardon, I think he was, along with John Spencer, they broke down the barriers of what was a closed shop at the time, and was a great character in the game. And yeah, his contribution to the early stages of making the modern game, if you like, should never be underestimated.
Born in Tredegar, South Wales, Reardon worked as a coal miner from the age of 14. But an accident underground changed his perspective on life.
You're buried. You're under about 4 or 5 tons of rubble. You open your mouth to breathe and all the particles of dust goes into your mouth and you think, oh, I mustn't do that. And I survived. So I said, I don't think I'm worried about a game of snooker. There's other things in life, you know. It's not the end of the world, it's a game of snooker.
Never to return to the mines, Ray became a police officer whilst building a reputation in the amateur game, then turning professional relatively late in 1967 at the age of 34.
As a player, I think he was ahead of his time, one of the great master tacticians of the game, and was never afraid of the big occasion. And I think he had something that is invaluable. He had a superiority complex. When he walked round the table, he owned it. Reardon shot to fame at the end of the 1960s while starring in the hugely popular Pot Black series, where he became the first champion. And he went on to dominate the game in the 70s with 6 world titles, the last of them at the Crucible.
Probably my favourite player when I was growing up. Fabulous competitor, brilliant all-round game. Had an aura about him that was just different from other people, and when you got to see him play, and then I was lucky enough to play him a few times as an amateur and a professional,
you realise what all the fuss was about, because he was just a tremendous match player.
Arguably the world's finest snooker player, Ray Reardon.
Topping the world rankings until 1981, Ray retired from the professional game fully 10 years later at the age of 58. But he continued to impart his deep knowledge of the game to another of snooker's then emerging legends.
Probably one of the most important people in my life, really. You know, I said there's been 3 people in my life that really impacted me massively, and Ray's one of them, you know. So, yeah, definitely say we had a special relationship, massive love for Ray, you know.
Around the same time as Reardon's 6th world title in '78, Clive Everton first commentated at the Crucible. He went on to become the voice of snooker.
Pink and black to finish with a century. Not too bothered about that. He's just so pleased to have done it.
You grew up listening to him, and then for him to actually commentate on me playing, when I started playing, you know, some world title wins and everything, Clive was in the box.
Known to millions worldwide for his calm, crisp, authoritative guidance through the action, Clive devoted his life to snooker and cue sports as a broadcaster and journalist, and his commentaries are synonymous with some of the sport's most historic and celebrated moments.
Amazing, astonishing, astounding.
Clive was the voice of snooker, that guiding light through his work with Snooker Scene, his magazine, which he edited for, I believe, over 50 years, and fully deserved, you know, his entry into the Hall of Fame just a few years ago. Somebody will remember very fondly.
He was 87 when he passed away in September.
He was certainly a pioneer and a great lover of the game. I've always said snooker's theatre. To have that theatre, the narrator, if you like, wants to bring people in, and Clive Everton was very good at that, and excellent commentator.
So farewell to 2 of snooker's greats. It's hard to overstate the influence of Messrs Reardon and Everton, one wielding a cue, the other a microphone.
Somebody once said snooker was a sign of a misspent youth. Well, all I can say to those people are, I wish I'd started earlier. It's been a great trip. I loved every moment. I'd love to do it again.
Wow, so many fond memories of both men. And I think when we look back, first of all, on Ray's contribution and indeed his friendship with all of us, he was a wonderful guy. What was his greatest impact and influence on someone like you, Steve?
Well, he dominated the 70s, and I wanted to know what it was about him, especially why he had the evil eye over a couple of other players. And he just seemed to be in control all the time around the table. So a great role model, I think, back then.
Yet at the time, the tactical element of the game was so important to you. And obviously, his impact on somebody like Ronnie, and indeed, Sean Murphy played with one of his cues to win his world title as well. He was revered at a time when the game was changing and becoming more attacking.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about earlier, Ronnie's always searching for something that's going to make him better, for perfection, and he thought that was his weakness. So he went to Ray Reardon, who was obviously the master tactician. But I thought Ray to me always, I didn't know him that well, but whenever he walked in a room, he had a presence. And greatness has presence whenever they walk in the room, and he had that.
He did. And so much fun, very avuncular manner, but really, really tough competitor at the table. And it was kind of cloaked in this jocularity at times, wasn't it? But he was a hard player.
Yeah, he tried to put one over you psychologically as well. He knew what he was doing, but, great operator, but a great player as well.
Yeah, and just as influential, but as I was saying, with a microphone and with a pen, was Clive. Obviously, he was a colleague of ours, and we shared many moments. Your greatest moment when he describes you as 7 times champ of the world, that's still your nickname, 7 times. How would you describe his style and authority in the commentary box, Steve?
It'd be very different to how I commentate. As John Virgo said, he sort of brought the atmosphere in. But I was fortunate. I got to experience him talking about me. Then when I was playing, I watched before I started playing, watching him and listening to him, and then actually commentated with him. So all 3, and it was a great education, really, being in the box with him.
He was massively passionate, not just about snooker, but all cue sports. In fact, he was a very good billiards player himself, a world champion, I believe, at one point. But it's his crusading journalism, as the guys were saying, 50 years in charge of Snooker Scene. He really did get in there and write some very, very key critical articles over the years too, didn't he?
Yeah, he held the association and the committees that over the years have run it to account and made sure that there wasn't too much skullduggery going on in the past. Sometimes he overstepped the mark, maybe, but it was good to have somebody as a sort of an ombudsman at the time.
Yeah, and of course, loved to laugh as well.
Yeah.
Nearly strangled Dennis Taylor in the commentary box at one point. That's another story. Dennis will tell you that himself. But we must also mention, guys, the sad passing of New Zealand's finest snooker player, Dean O'Kane, earlier in the summer. He was only 61. And earlier this week, we also said farewell to Mark Wildman, who was a WPBSA director, but also a very fine world billiards champion himself. I didn't realise this. He was actually the first man to make a televised century break in the 1960s. Mark was 88. So we all have different and very fond memories of all of those men, as I'm sure you do as well. And our condolences and fond regards go to the families of all four of them. OK. So 2 centuries so far in the first 4 frames for Ronnie O'Sullivan, a 1-2-8 and a 1-1-4. O'Sullivan 3-1 to the good, needing, of course, 6 to go through into the last 16.
Okay.
And their single session drama is about to resume. And we'll return you to John Parrott and Mark Allen. I presume you've been fed and watered, gentlemen?
Suitably, Hazel. Thank you very much. Yes, we're both very happy. And Mark Allen was absolutely correct before the interval, because Barry Hawkins, I just bumped into him there. He did actually go into the practice room for a little practice, so you're quite correct in what you said.
Yeah, it's not like you're going to find a massive amount in that 15-minute period. It's just about seeing the ball going in again, getting a bit of
quiet as possible, please.
Because although Ronnie's been very, very good, Barry hasn't been without chances.
Yep, there's another one. Tough shot that. Played with a lot of drag, just trying to hold the cue ball for the black. Slightly thick.
One.
Feel as if this is a very big frame, don't you, Mark?
Yeah.
3-2, 4-1. Huge.
Yeah, we all talk about how good Ronnie is. Greatest of all time. He doesn't give up many leads. Such a good front runner.
6.
Barry was to make a sizable break here. It'll make Ronnie think. Right back in the game at 3-2.
7.
Played that nicely. Nice little angle. Cannon the left of the 2 reds. He's got an angle here now to open more reds up.
So go on then, which way would you play this?
I'm nearly always the screw shot. I feel there's a bit more control in that. I think if you play the top spin, you're risking snookering yourself on the black behind other reds. Coming back to just past where his hand is now.
15.
More control in that shot. I'd like to have hit it a little harder.
Yeah, it still moved a few reds out, didn't it? Even though it was not the hardest, but as I say, still quite a few of them moved out into play. But yeah, it's just interesting how people go about it. This is actually a very decent chance.
I think Barry was a little taken back with the bounce again. You seen one that Ronnie played in the early part of the match. That seemed to bounce a bit more. You'd like to have been a fraction straighter. Shouldn't be a problem. But sometimes it can be a little irksome, just that you're not exactly where you wanted to be.
23.
These are quite nice, these reds, actually. There's one of those breaks where once you remove one of them, it opens up the path for another one. These are not bad at all if you can get the other side of the pack, where he's playing now. Go through the gap. Yeah, perfect. So I say looks like he's recovered a bit of composure here, Barry. Just lost a little bit of it in that frame before the interval, but this is more like what we know.
31.
Say when he makes breaks, the cue ball hardly moves.
Yeah, and as we've seen in that previous shot, potting that, there's left space for the red nearest his hand to go into the same corner. So got a big margin for error here. I can see 5 reds still in the open without having to play a cannon.
$39.
You'd like to have been a little straighter. Has to just glide past the immediate bunch. The red below the pink does go in the corner. I don't like that shot at all. No need to play that.
Yeah, it was a funny one, wasn't it? He was in two minds. You could almost see that. He was
46.
playing this and didn't really want to. It was a bit of a nothing shot, that, in fairness. Could have guaranteed himself another red, couldn't he, by not playing that cannon?
Yeah, absolutely. Even if he didn't want to play the small gap, just missing the bunch, he could have just played off the side cushion and left himself a bit further away for the red on the right-hand side.
Hawkins, 46.
He'd be very disappointed that not to finish the frame in one go there. And every chance you don't take against O'Sullivan will just give him more and more confidence. It's the last thing you want to do.
Yeah, he was looking very promising there. Barry Hawkins looked like he'd got his cue action back and break building, but not to be. Obviously still strong favourites in this frame with a 46-point lead, but the way the balls are, that 46-point lead won't be very big if Ronnie gets in. I mean, in a perfect world, if you could play a safety shot here and maybe flick a red on the side cushion somewhere safe or safer, that'd be a bonus. Maybe, you know, sometimes that shot's not on, but if you could flick one to a side cushion, you'd have a 46-point lead and some insurance policy with a ball safe, but might not be able to do it here.
Yeah, I didn't see any way he could play a tell-in safety there, and he's left Ronnie a shot at the red below the pink here. Bit of a free go as well. Didn't get the pot. But he missed it thin, which is the proper side to miss it. Got a great cue ball. The only thing in Barry's favour, he has pushed that red to the cushion.
Yeah, that's the one red he won't want to remove or play off, if at all possible. He's just coming down to this corner, see if he can leave the cue ball somewhere down here. But what you don't want with this shot is a double kiss at any part of the shot. Sorted out another red, and quite a clever little shot that. Yeah, I'd be happy with that. Well,
you can see Ronnie just wanting to bring that difficult red straight into play. Barry was probably trying to cover that with the black.
Yeah, this is a very, very dangerous table. And of course, there's always pressure playing against Ronnie when you know he's scoring, but it just puts pressure on your safety play to be so good. And it's not there. That was a poor shot. Shouldn't have been hitting that. And this red that's to the right of the blue does pot, but it needs some good cueing.
Yeah, it's not often you say it, but he did not hit that well at all.
Yeah, that was his worst strike of the match so far. Hit across that. Wasn't middle of the white.
One.
If he doesn't win the frame from here with a 47-point lead in this position, he'll be absolutely mortified.
How mad this game is. He'll actually be thinking that as well. He'll know that if he does not win the frame here, the chances of winning this match are all but gone. Which adds pressure itself. You have to try and just stay in the moment, concentrate on this red and getting on the blue. That's all you can ever really control. That was a better shot this time because the previous blue he tried to land here and he just didn't get into the cue ball at all.
12.
Yeah, it's a very big frame, as we mentioned, just for the scoreline, but for Barry's psyche, just to get back involved in the match. And okay, didn't win it in one visit. He looks a bit more like his normal self, which is usually very competent.
20. $21.
Yeah, and for all we've talked about Barry struggling and Ronnie being good, firing 2 snookers. There's only 1 frame in it at 3-2. Right back into this match
27.
Yeah, I don't know about you, Mark, but if I was playing Ronnie, I'd get a little bit of encouragement from that red he took that was next to the blue, because that wasn't a great piece of cue in there.
No, any individual shot can be missed, of course, but it was the way he missed it and how badly he cued it. It's not like him at all.
30.
No, if he misses that, he threatens the pocket, it rattles and sort of goes close, but that'll be worrying. I think it'll be quite important for Barry here to try and stay at the table as long as possible. Try and clear up if you can. I know it sounds obvious, but just keep Ronnie in your seat a little longer. Get a bit of confidence
41.
back in your cue action if you're Barry.
$42. $47. $48.
I mean, 3-1 down at the interval's never great, but at least it's a little better when it's a best of 11. And you've got a bit more leeway.
32.
Opposed to the best of 9s, but this is a good frame from Barry Hawkins. Much needed.
53.
Yeah, and being 3-1 down is not the end of the world. It's just how he was 3-1 down and the chances that he missed, but he'll be feeling a hell of a lot better in himself now.
$60.
The yellow doesn't go in.
Barry Hawkins, 60.
Doesn't matter, a break of 60 is enough. Barry Hawkins to win this frame and close to just 3-2 behind.
So Barry Hawkins has obviously been listening to what these gentlemen have been saying at the interval. He's come back, but he was certainly given a little bit of encouragement, slightly worrying from Ronnie fans' perspective about the way he queued across that red.
Yeah, I think he bailed out a little bit on it. If we see the shot, I think he was straight enough to actually hold for the blue here. Yeah, he can definitely stun for the blue to left middle. He's put an element of safety into it by screwing the cue ball back. That takes a little bit of commitment to the pot out. I think if you fully commit, 100%, I'm going to pot this red and stun for the blue, I don't think he misses it. I think he bailed out, which was surprising.
Yeah, exactly. I think there was a kind of collective, that's slightly odd from his perspective, because he had looked so pin sharp until that point.
Yes, and on that point, how often, and for viewers at home would have listened to our commentary and statements about how often the interval can change the flow of a match. And I wonder if sort of, like in poker parlance where you sort of run it twice, if you played the match with no interval as opposed to how many matches will have changed the direction and course of the result? Because it does seem sometimes like it just halts the player who's in front in their tracks a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. But of course now it's Barry who has the momentum. And when we were talking at the start of the match about having to put pressure on this man when you are given the chances, he's done it once at least here.
As always, you got to do the easy things right. If it does the easy things well, he's got a chance of winning this match.
Okay, back we go.
Well, Ronnie's breaks so far today have been pretty good, as indeed. Well, I thought Barry Hawkins was in the first frame, Mark, but he never got another shot, so it's very important. It's not quite as good this time.
Yeah, that's the first different break-off we've seen. Every other break-off's been very close to the cushion, nearly leaving a red down this side of the table that we're looking at. Not as good a cue ball this time. Just got that a little bit thick, but I don't think there's any immediate damage done.
Just got to be a little careful. You don't want to be promoting anything towards the other corner. So I played it onto the black, which was a pretty clever shot to make sure that didn't happen. That's another example of that sort of figure-8 shot that he plays with one inside for two cushions. Just gets that cue ball so close to the ball cushion so many times, such a high percentage. Just makes it that more difficult for his opponent. But the return shot.
He's got that much too thick. Yeah, two possible reds on for Ronnie. Looking out for one on the outside. And again, he's got that little section extension that he didn't bring with him today.
One.
Very good shot. sometimes when you put that extension on, it adds a bit more weight to the cue. It's easy to actually miss that shot thick. We adjusted very, very well.
Yeah, it just makes it feel different as well, doesn't it, with the extra weight? But that was a lovely pot. Barry will be absolutely kicking himself he made such a mistake of the safety. It really wasn't that difficult a shot, but
3.
far too thick. Shouldn't really been giving him that opportunity, but it was a good pot from Ronnie nonetheless.
Just seeing there, Ronnie's thinking of getting that black back on its spot as quickly as possible. Not sure if it'll be right away. It is right away.
4.
The red above the pink goes.
See, this looks like nothing, man, but you've got to really time this one, haven't you? This is a shot that can easily go wrong if you don't time this well.
Yeah, if you overhit that, you miss it thick. Don't commit to it, and you might get the pot and lose the white.
11.
I think you'd be getting up for possibly the green here.
12.
The reason I said green is because there's a good target on that right-hand side, but he's going to have to hit the pink full ball. Open these reds up. Oh, what a shot. I think he's been very, very unfortunate. He has got one red near the pink spot. It's a little thinner than he would have liked. Deserves something better. That was a very good shot.
Oh, that was so good. I mean, for the gap between the pink and the reds there, you really had to get it as close to full ball as you could, and that was an excellent shot.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 17.
Yeah, I still expected him to get that, but that was very unfortunate. He deserved something better. That was a great shot, like you said, John, on that blue. This red nearest the greenside black pocket does pot. Be going back up for yellow or green.
Yeah, in context of the match, this is a very big shot. Because that would have been Barry's big chance in this frame. Overcut it. Now he's got to face the consequences. Although saying that, Mark, it's not that easy to get started here, is it?
No, these are so difficult to control. It looks so simple on the TV, but if you hit this too hard, the white doesn't travel back up the table. The top spin stays on it. You can see that's why he's played it with a bit of drag. Controlled that lovely. Very straight on this green. Just wondering where his red comes from the green. Looks like the natural angle's bringing him close to that red on the side cushion. If he screws back, he'd love to get on the one to the right of the black.
Yeah, it's not a brilliant chance at the moment, this, is it? The way the balls are.
The green's obviously the easier pot, but I think the better shot's the yellow. If he swings that yellow round, he's got a choice of 2 or 3 reds. Not really sure what he can do from the green.
I think he's looking to see if he can pinch on the pocket a little bit. Maybe pot it in one side of the pocket as opposed to just straight in the middle so he can force an angle.
He actually done pretty well there, but he's left himself a horrible shot.
Yep, there's a cue action tester, if ever there was one.
A lovely shot he's just played there. Full commitment to the shot. You pick your line and trust it. Nicely on the pink. Can remove the red next to the black next, I think. And from what looked like a really awkward position on the green, yeah, frame winning chance.
That's where,
Amazing.
that's where his genius is, isn't it? The amount of times I've sat in the studio and in the commentary box and looked at a table that looks so
12.
unpromising, and within 3 or 4 shots, he's just got them in a position that's absolutely ideal. I mean, when he's on the green there and he's wondering about the angle off it, how's he ended up like this 2 shots later?
I think what I would say is he's probably known playing that green. He's not going to be perfect on the next red, but it's the right shot. It's the shot that's going to open up the frame as quickly as it has. A lot of other players would have took the yellow, myself included. I think I'd have took the yellow and waited for a better chance to get on one of those 2 reds near pink and black, but just straight for the kill every time with Ronnie. It's amazing to watch.
$27. 28. 31. 32. 38. 39. 46. 47.
Oh, shame on me for saying this didn't look a very promising table.
54.
Absolutely
55.
beautiful way to go about making a break from a frame that looked very awkward. Shot off the green, left himself the awkward red, dropped that in, and since then, absolute plain sailing.
61.
Mastery of break building, right here.
62.
To say my short time in the commentary box, sometimes better to say nothing and just sit and enjoy, isn't it? Because this has been absolutely amazing, this break. I don't think there's much that we could have said that would have made it any better than just letting you sit and watch it at home. It's absolutely amazing how easy this
68.
game is to Ronnie O'Sullivan at times. Didn't look like there was much on at all. If he can get enough bite in this green, get the red off the cushion. He's missed the green, doesn't matter. Very, very good break of 69 from Ronnie O'Sullivan. Gives him a 2-frame lead at 4-2.
Well, props given to Ronnie from the commentary box there. I think they both enjoyed that there, and you did too. And there was one shot in particular, guys, that you picked out, which was really the sort of the fulcrum of that break in the end.
Yeah, this type of shot is no one's played this shot better than Ronnie. You can see it sort of aims down on the cue ball. A lot of people have the cue sort of parallel to the side of the table and the cushion. He actually aims down it, and it allows him to sort of just go through the cue ball so well. And I mentioned the shot he missed in the previous frame was not 100% commitment. That was, I mean, he knew he was going to leave anything, but it's just, he actually strokes that shot in the same way he would stroke a normal shot, like if he had his British hand flat on the table. Yeah. It's just beautiful to watch.
Yeah, did you enjoy and admire that one as much as Mark Allen did?
As did Mark and John Parrott, drooling over Ronnie's ability to make what looks like difficult positions on a snooker table look very easy. He clears up more than anybody else, and yeah, that's a tough shot, and very easy to miss that and sort of bottle it, so to speak.
It's also very easy when you're aiming down on it like that to impart unwanted side and just drag the cue ball out of position.
Yeah, and he does make the easy look, you know, the difficult look very easy. And speaking of accolades, actually, somebody else who makes a very difficult job look very easy. Hazel, actually. You may not know at home that Hazel was recently awarded by BAFTA Scotland with outstanding contributions to television. We are all so proud of you.
Thank you. That's very kind of you. That's very, very kind. It's going to be a very beautiful thing that we can use as a doorstop or something wonderful like that. But it was a lovely evening. Yes. Thank you very much. That's great. Thank you. But in terms of Ronnie now, 4-2 up and the status of the match. We've seen that Barry's tried to have an answer for all of this, but so far has found it in parts of an answer, but not putting it together.
Yeah, it's like one step forward, two steps back, isn't it? One step forward, two steps back. He plays a good frame and then has a chance to sort of get that momentum, get into the match, and then he fails in the next frame. As I say, it's no surprise. The record is what it is, because this is obviously the pattern. He just cannot seem to get, even on level terms, let alone get in front or get on top of Ronnie.
Yeah, exactly. And from Barry's point of view, when you look back at some of the big matches that they've played, I mean, they've played a Masters final, they played a World final, and Barry has really acquitted himself very well in both of those finals when we think back to it. It's just so difficult when you are a man of his talent, this is Barry I'm talking about, when you're a man of supreme talent like Ronnie. It's just always there.
Yes, and we're being ultra-critical of Barry because, you know, trying to dominate Ronnie O'Sullivan, you know, that's tough.
Yes, exactly. Back we go. Does Barry have any further answers for us this afternoon?
Thank you, Hazel, and echo the sentiments of Steve there. Totally deserved your award. Well done to you. Absolute star. Thick. And not a bad lead for a left-hander, this. I'm saying that, can he reach, do you think?
I think he can. He'll have to screw through the top part of the pack. Leave himself in the pink in the middle or the black through the gap. He didn't hit that great at all. Expect that to zip off that pack, don't you?
Yeah, there was no real downside there to being a lot firmer, was there? You know, you hit that, you had to get in the pink. If you screw out, you're on the black. The one thing you couldn't be was have a dead white, which is exactly what he got there.
Just going back to that safety shot that Ronnie played, I talked earlier about how Ronnie doesn't play much with playing ball. He always tries to play a bit of side, and it's important to hit where you're striking. He definitely didn't there. He tried to play that with a bit of left and didn't, and that's why it didn't curve away from the red, and he hit it thick to give that chance to Barry, but no damage done with only 1 point scored. But very, very rare you see a safety error from Ronnie.
I may have to play it with a tiny bit of swerve if he's playing past the blue there. And of course then it becomes a bit more difficult to get the correct weight to get the cue ball back in the balk area. So he's having a look at, he's playing this, but while he's looking at it, it's tight. May just decide to just side cushion and drop into the side of the pack here. Hit that a little harder than he would have liked. He's having a look straight away to see if that red passed the pink in the middle, but I don't think it does, or... Well, it may do.
I think it does. Looking at Ronnie's body language, he's looking at where he needs to be to get the gap for the black. I think this red goes. And no, it does. You can see there. Just overhit that shot a bit, Barry, and didn't get that control. These middles are so tight. If you hit that near knuckle at all, it is not going in. You see a bit of frustration there from Ronnie. Not often you see that.
Well, you knew, or he knows, that great opportunity for 5-2. Yeah, frustrated with that one. That wasn't that difficult by his standards. This is where, as a match player, you've really got to dig in here. You know, Ronnie's got frustrated. Make it a bit worse. Winning one visit. Easier said than done, but these balls are nice.
Six.
It shouldn't be a problem, but I would have liked to have been a bit closer to this red. He had a bit of angle there. He could have hit that much harder and get down closer. His rest stats in this match are only 1 from 4. Oh, it's disappointing.
Parrott, Hawkins, 6.
Such a poor shot on the blue. Worrying times this.
Yeah, sadly that's unforgivable. No wonder he shakes his head. Miss one of them in a month of Sundays playing in the club.
I think the red that Ronnie's trying to stretch for isn't too difficult, but it's where does the colour come from? Not sure he can completely control the cannon that he's going to get.
1.
I think he fully expected a cannon, but not off the pink. He hasn't got a gap through to the black, I don't think. No, definitely not on that black. It's very close to this blue as well. Doesn't want to pot this red. Yeah, he didn't get the left-hand side that he wanted on that.
6.
Left with a very difficult red into right centre if he wants to continue this break.
Very good pot. Sneaked in off the far jaw, but it's not getting any easier. Pink out of commission, black currently. No good. Really concentrate on the ball colours and the blue, but this warrants a bit of respect. Punching this in down the table as well. Yeah, not straightforward, having to put the pace into
Ronnie
it.
O'Sullivan, 7.
He's just decided to play the best safety shot he could instead.
Yeah, it never rains, but it pours if you're Barry Hawkins. Ronnie doesn't miss too many, and that by no means was easy, but very, very fortunate where the cue balls landed. You see those stats on your screen, 92% pot success for Ronnie, 85 for Barry. If Barry's any aspirations to win this match, he needs to get that up to the early 90s.
I'll tell you what, he's in a bit of bother, isn't he? I mean, what shots he got? Guess he can maybe get him behind the red and somehow leave the cue ball down in the corner.
Cushion first, maybe on the red nearest the pocket.
That's the only chance, isn't it? It's all he really had, in truth.
I actually like the pace he played it, because if he hits that hard and leaves the red on the cushion, Ronnie's got a free go on the red in the middle of the table. Now, because of where that red is, he has to play it and play off it safe. Well, we could actually see the bunch. Chance to put Barry in big trouble. Has he left the gap? I think we can tell by Ronnie's body language that he's left the gap all right.
Well, that is a collector's item there for him to play that shot so poorly and leave a chance of this. Yeah,
One.
and he's played that absolutely beautifully. To get that cue ball there, the correct side of the blue, was an excellent shot from Barry Hawkins. As I say, not a brilliant chance this, because it's just the ball colours and the blue at the moment.
I think he's underhit that one a little bit straight away. This means he's having to take a more difficult red with the rest.
Seven.
And even though he's the wrong side of the blue, that was a good recovery. Not much to worry about here, the brown being off its spot. That was a very good shot. Back in perfect position.
12.
Yeah, the cue ball, well, it's going to be doing a bit of mileage in this break just because the very nature of it with the colours available.
13.
I mean, in a perfect world, he'd like to have got an angle on the blue there, come down, played a little cannon on the red and the black, took a chance that he could have been on the red and got the black back in play. Doesn't have to, of course. The reds in the middle of the table are potable, but it was an option.
I think it's one of those now where you need to decide now, do I want this black in play or not? Because there's enough there to win the frame from
18.
blues, but you need to commit to it now if you want to do it that way.
Yeah. And looking at the way the reds are, I'd probably change my mind and say he's doing the right thing, actually.
19.
As long as you keep getting that cue ball top side. Where the problem comes is if you don't.
Doesn't want to stick behind this red. And of course,
24.
You could just see that coming. It was always going to be tough off blues. Another half chance goes begging for Barry Hawkins.
Barry Hawkins, 24.
Yeah, I do think, as I say, I agree with you. I think he did the right thing committing to blues, but you just had to be topside, didn't you? Once you didn't get perfect position, you were always having to be. It was going to be a struggle if you didn't get topside of blue.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can go too far there as well. You've got green or brown there. You just cannot be short or straight.
You know, Mark, I'm thinking you can almost feel the tension in it. It's almost like both players are realising this is an absolutely massive frame. Seems to have cranked up a notch in the nervous stakes.
Yeah, I think Ronnie can feel like this is a great chance to pull away and close this match out, and Barry also feels like this is a great chance to get back into this game. Both making mistakes. Another safety error from Ronnie, which is just not like him at all. Not the best shot in the world from Barry. If he can navigate this cue ball and get one on red, it's another chance to get back to within one. Just needs to travel.
He's having a bit of a not quiter, isn't he?
Yeah.
Everything's not quite perfect. He's playing the shots well, but they're just not quite landing perfectly. And because of that, it's making the subsequent shots that more difficult just to get on a colour.
7.
He done well there, finding that gap. Perfect this time on the blue. That was a very, very good shot from Barry. Yeah, and that previous blue wasn't a great shot to land straight. The red wasn't a good shot to land low, but he's landed low enough he can get round. And again, it's a little shorter than he would have liked, but he has got a shot at this
18.
red. Red, blue, red would be enough. Again, over the pink makes this a little bit more missable.
19.
Well, he's done well in this break. As I say, it hasn't been easy. Some days you can play and just don't have the cue ball. You have one of those days where it's just not quite right at any point, but this has been one of those breaks where he's just kept going. And refused to leave the table, so well done to him. And with this effort, he's going to be back to one frame behind again.
25.
Seen the frustration nearly in the frame from Ronnie, banging the table when he missed that red in the middle, so Barry will pick up on that. We've still got a match on our hands.
Yeah, and isn't it typical now that the frame's over? He's landed perfect on this red that he wanted rid of the whole time.
31.
Like you said, right back in this match now, and signs of frustration from Ronnie. Barry needs to use that.
$38. 39. $46. 48. 51.
This is more like the stuff we're used to from the Hawk.
55.
He's taken these beautifully well. And he'll be encouraged by this. Can he flick the pink out? How's your billiards?
60.
Not bad.
$66.
And the black for a break of 73, and a very competent one at that. Well played, Barry Hawkins. Now we're getting warm. Ronnie O'Sullivan leads 4 frames to 3.
27th campaign for Barry Hawkins in the United Kingdom Championship over many years. And in fact, Ronnie's won their last 4 games between these two guys going back to 2021. But he's given himself a sniff here, hasn't he?
Yes, he has. I mean, there's nothing more encouraging than watching your opponent getting a little bit frustrated out there. That red in the middle pocket, Ronnie would have expected to have gotten. He didn't quite like that. But, yeah, he's hanging on in there. And you know, in a situation to sort of... mugging's not the right word, but sort of getting over the line without really dominating is always quite a nice feeling. So Barry can do that, I think.
Yeah, we've seen Barry's belief almost kind of ebb and flow a little bit, but he's just got to continue to believe in himself, surely, out there.
Yeah, I think the one thing that would send a real message to Ronnie would be if he won a frame in one visit. I mean, winning these frames is all very well and good, and I said last week he won a frame to go 3-2, then consequently lost the next frame if he can sort of compound that win with the next frame, again, and maybe win it with a 90 or 100 break, that would send a message to Ronnie. I don't think what he's just done will send panic signals to Ronnie O'Sullivan. So yeah, the way you put pressure on the real best players in the world is by winning frames in one visit.
It is fascinating, actually, when you see Barry sitting out there. He's been in two Masters finals, actually, and a World final. He's been really at the top level in this game for many years, but this is the championship he just never really got on with. One semi-final and only one quarter-final over the years. It's been a problem for him, but I wonder if he's starting to believe that it's doable against this man, the defending champion today.
Yeah, interesting stuff, and well, I agree with Stephen. I think if you can win a frame and win it in one visit, make a 80, 90, 100, whatever it is, it does make a massive difference, not only to the scoreline quickly, but to the psyche of your opponent. So, well, he wouldn't give a frame-winning contribution in one visit.
One.
And that's a good start. What a pot that is. Beautiful shot.
Lovely shot there. Interesting to see if he plays this with lots of side or plays a cannon. Yeah, if he played it with lots of side, he pretty much guaranteed being on a red. Still expected him to get the cannon right. He's left with a tricky red in the left centre.
Yeah, these are horrible, aren't they? Blind pocket into the middle, which are tighten up at the best of times, but he'll take it on. But as I say, you see him standing behind, just trying to get that picture in his mind's eye of the potting angle. Very tough, these. Good shot.
9.
Excellent. Yeah, that was a better cannon than it looked as well. To get the exact
60.
contact there, could have lost the cue ball but didn't.
$17.
So it's come out in this frame with a purpose. Oh, and red was a corker. Not absolutely straightforward here for the next red, so he's just had a little meander around just to see what he fancies. You have to play a little cannon. Well, he could get into the cue ball and played that really nicely. Played in an area there where he'd have the chance of 2 reds.
24.
Played that really, really nicely. Just soft enough to let the cue ball grip. If he'd hit that any harder, I think he'd have cannoned that red. Much better shot than it looked.
$25.
I don't quite know the angle he's got, but it looks pretty straight. May have to screw back and play with the reverse side to come out for the red that's on the right of your screen there. Has done. How's the cue ball? Has it got enough, Barry? Just, I think.
32.
It was close, Mark, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was very close. He didn't hit that one as well as he would have liked, but he is on this red. It's one of those awkward angles. You either float it in with the left-hand side for the blue in the green side middle, or you try and nip it for the blue in the yellow side middle.
33.
He's played the latter and he's played it very, very well.
Tempted here by the cannon into the pink. Oh, beautiful shot. Might actually be a little bit unlucky.
38.
That's been very, very unlucky. Not only is he not on a red, there's a red over the pocket that if he's playing safe he has to cover. He's looking to see if he can get a plant onto that red, but I don't see anything straightforward.
Wow, just when you need a good run of the ball.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
he's hit that so well, hasn't he? I mean, to finish there, you could not write it.
Yeah, we talked about the shot Ronnie played into the pack earlier with that gap between the pink and the reds. Barry had the same problem there and dealt with it just as well as Ronnie did, but has been very, very unlucky where he's landed.
He was just flowing there, just starting to get in. All he needed is to land on one ball there and he was up and away. And now, well, this is dangerous, whatever he does. Looks like he's going to play the plant one right onto the other. Might consider this all he's got.
What a horrible spot to be in. He's digging down. I think he's trying to, if he doesn't get the plant, move it from the pocket and get a good weight. What a shot that is. Brilliant. What a shot.
Thoroughly deserved that was, and beautifully played. Didn't deserve to be having to play that shot, but wow, that was an excellent execution of it.
And again, he's left himself just a fraction more awkward than he would have liked, having to dig down a little. Needs to slide by that red. Dealt with that pretty well.
44.
If he can get on this next colour perfectly, we could be looking at 4-all. Needs one more good positional shot.
Yeah, the pink isn't in a bad spot, is it? You can screw back and miss the red that's closest to the cue ball. Screw out there, you should be on the pink. Think he might have the angle to avoid that cannon. If he can, that's the way forward. There you go, through the gap, beautifully played. I mean, that's
45.
really well struck with the extension. And he has definitely got the bit between his teeth here. At last, he's playing like he can do.
Yeah, and I'm also looking at Ronnie's body language in his chair. He doesn't look overly happy there. It's going back to what they touched on in studio. They said about Barry needing to make a one sort of visit to get Ronnie worried.
51.
I'm not sure I'd quite agree. I think that Ronnie can get in his own way sometimes, and if he's getting frustrated in his own performance, sometimes that's more effective
52.
than Barry making break after break, because he probably expects that. But it's okay, Ronnie being frustrated. Barry has to pot the balls. And at the minute, this is as good as he's looked in this entire match.
This is the fluency that's been missing from the majority of it. I mean, it's to his credit. It's only 4-3
58.
because he's not really played like he can play. This is what he's usually good at. This has been very fluent, beautifully taken. That plant in the middle of it was
59.
fully deserving. Well, saying that, the cue ball just comes up a bit short. Just as he's getting near the point of no return. He'll be disappointed with that. Just the other side of the blue is just so easy to make the break.
It's funny, if you said to him, Barry, I'll give you 20 quid if you don't land straight or low on the blue, he would never ever land there. The amount of times he's done that in this match. It's having to pull out a lot of recovery shots. Being a left-hander, this red 2 below the pink, it's pretty accessible.
Yeah, he actually half quit on that as well. He could have, well, right behind that in our commentary box, he could have put the cue ball back a little bit further, which made the pot easier. I mean, I still fancy him getting this, but 3 or 4 inches on the cue ball, this would have been a lot easier. Well played.
65.
That green
68.
means Ronnie O'Sullivan needs 1 snooker. Break goes to 68. This red would make it absolutely certain.
69.
So we've got 4-all, but can he go on and make a sizable break?
Yeah, and can he keep the same fluency in the next frame? Because that's the key. I mean, he won last year's championship, Ronnie, but there was a few times through the tournament where
74.
people had him in a bit of trouble. Robert Milkins in one match particular. Unfortunately, couldn't press over the line.
75.
So people had chances against him last year, and well, Barry Hawkins has put himself in a very good position at 4 frames each. But he's got to keep that fluency and keep that standard of play up that he's just shown in this frame. Because this has been excellent. Really has. Even though he misses the
Barry
blue,
Hawkins,
he won't be too
75.
bothered about that. Ronnie says that's
And the
enough. And both players will leave the auditorium, and what a change in a match this is. Barry Hawkins has finally found his feet. It's 4 frames all.
Well, Ronnie won 3 before the interval, Barry's won 3 after the interval, and we have ourselves a proper game here, guys. What did you notice in particular that took your fancy in that one, Stephen?
Just 2 fantastic shots to keep the break going, because he was very unlucky the first time going into the pack. He couldn't have played it any better, and he has to play this plant where there's a lot of space between the first red and this red. But yeah, brilliant shot to keep the break going, where that could have easily gone wrong. This shot, arguably, this next shot with the rest, is even better. I mean, we're going to see the plant from above. You could see the red wasn't hanging over the pocket, the second red. So it wasn't a gimme. But I think the rest shot is arguably even better the way he controlled this shot. You know, because he's got the extension on. You don't get the same feel, but he couldn't have picked up the cue ball better with his hand and placed it.
Yeah, and for you, Steve, what does it tell us?
Well, there's a changing of the pattern of the game for certain. Barry in the ascendancy. I mean, the only danger is that if Ronnie's ever threatened, and we've seen so often before, he responds so well. And if anybody's trying to outclass him, he has all the gears to move through. But yeah, the body language doesn't look so good now, does it? Yeah, it does change as the story and the pattern of the match changes. But yeah, not saying he hasn't had better chances, but he won't have many better chances to beat Ronnie O'Sullivan in a major event.
Well, what you say about actually now being asked the question. I mean, how many times was he asked the question here last year? You know, it went 6-5 against Rob Milkins, against Zhou Yulong, and of course he got 7-all against Ding Junhui in the final, and then suddenly found that gear. This is what he can do.
Exactly, that's the words. He finds a gear from nowhere, where even when he looks like he's struggling a little bit, sort of mentally, technically on the table, he just finds something. You know, the old phrase, don't poke the bear. You know, I said win frames in one visit to put pressure on, but also that could trigger Ronnie into finding that extra gear.
Do you recognise that? I mean, as brilliant champions yourselves, you've been in this situation. What is it that you find, and how do you do it?
Well, you sort of you're more of an alert. You know, if you're in front in a match, sometimes you can not be absolutely on it all the time, keeping that pressure up. But the moment somebody then responds to you, maybe it just heightens your senses a little bit, and there's a little bit more adrenaline flowing through your body. But on the other hand, if Barry Hawkins can sort of keep that potting standard going, the other guy sitting in his seat, doesn't matter who's sitting in the seat. If Barry Hawkins can play 2 perfect frames, he's in the next round.
It's a good point, because obviously Barry, along with all of us, are perfectly well aware that this guy can find the extra gear.
Yeah, another way, Ronnie we've said Ronnie hasn't played a lot this season, so maybe he's a wee bit rusty out in the arena. Possible, but I doubt it, but possible.
Well, it's all grist to our mill as viewers, isn't it? Strap yourselves in, here we go. 4-all, a possible 3 more to play.
Yes, and it started as a best of 11, and now it's a best of 3. So Barry Hawkins has done what? Well, he'd have snapped your hand off if he'd have said you're going to be 4-4 with an opportunity against Ronnie O'Sullivan. He'd have said thank you very much. So he's got just that now. He just needs to play 2 very good frames of snooker to get through.
Make it sound so easy, John. There's a long way to go yet. But yeah, encouraging signs from the interval. Breaks of 60, 73 and 75 have got him back into this match. But that's another very, very good safety from Ronnie O'Sullivan. Perfect length on the cue ball.
Yeah, another example again of the use of side round the table, and that really is a very good shot.
We see it so often over the years that when Ronnie's challenged when he's tested, even when he's not at his best, he just finds something, doesn't he? Even in the final here last year, 7-all, not really playing that great. 3 perfect frames to win 10-7.
Yeah, no one's had a better gearbox, have they? He just absolutely puts his foot down and away he goes, but...
Has he left the plant? Has he been very unfortunate and left the plant? Seen Barry having a look. I think he's turning it down.
I think it's this is just tough enough at the moment just to get out of trouble. I really like that shot. That was fully committed. He knew that was the shot to play, and he got a tap on the table from Ronnie because he just said, right, this is the correct shot. This is how you need to play it. And he knew he'd be opening reds, but he played that really well.
Very good shot. He has left the red for Ronnie. Can't tell what angle he's got. Black does not go in the other corner. Tell you what, he's left Barry a horrible shot across the nap, dropping it in for the black. Has he left the plant though? If he's left the plant, it takes a bit of pressure off.
Has he looked at the plant yet? No, he has now. There's a little bit of a gap between them, but after the one he knocked in the last frame, you'd fancy him getting this one.
One.
And the bonus, the green being knocked up the table. So nothing to do with the cue ball. And what a chance this is. As I say, in the last frame, he showed all the fluency that we're used to from Barry Hawkins. Can he keep it here?
Four. Five.
Nice shot there. Struck that lovely. I think he's got a nice little line of 3 reds. They all appear to go in the right corner. There you can see.
10.
Is the black any good at the minute, Mark? Don't think it's any good, is it?
Don't think so.
I don't think he can get on it, can he?
I think the easiest route to the black would be to get on the one nearest the right corner first, then the one nearest the black, but the rest of them are sitting so well, you may not even have to do that.
11. $16. $17.
Absolutely perfect, considering he was just a touch with the cue ball short, but the fact that he's left-handed, he can just screw back off this. Red in the corner, I'll leave him perfectly on the pink. Don't know what's happening with the pink spot itself. It will get respotted. I'll go directly behind it, can't quite see.
$23.
May have an angle now where he can. Well, he hasn't. I was thinking he could have had an angle to pop the pink and move that red, so it's guaranteed going on its spot. But don't know yet, Mark. What's happening with this?
Yeah, I'm just looking there. I think the red below the pink is on the pink spot itself, so pink might go on the black spot, which could tie up both of those colours.
All to be revealed.
$29.
He would have liked to have been straight on this red. If he was straight on this red, he gets back on the pink.
$30.
Much more difficult when you're having to go back up for the blue every time, but he's still at the table, still in control. Just feel like he's a shot or two away from being perfect here.
$35. $36.
Yeah, that was the one that I talked about earlier. He needed to get on that early, but I'm not sure that was the right time to play it. Didn't see how he could get on a colour nicely from that. Left himself a very missable blue across the table.
Yeah, these are not the easiest. Particularly when you don't exactly know where the cue ball's going to go. Players don't like that. They like to be more exact. He's knocked it in.
$41.
Yeah, this is the easier of the two pots. Has to get on the black nicely though.
$42.
He's played that very, very well.
That was top draw, that shot. Absolutely top draw. Couldn't have played that any better. And he's certainly answering my question. I said the frame before, could he keep that fluency going? He definitely has in this
49.
break. This has been beautifully constructed. And aside from losing the cue ball a couple of shots ago and having to drop that blue in, pretty much near perfect.
$50.
Must confess, early on in the match, it didn't look like it was going to pan out like this, Mark, did it?
No, frames 3 and 4 in particular, Barry looked all at sea with his action, but whatever he's done on the practice table at the intervals definitely worked. He looks much more fluent and in control. He's only 3 good pots away from making another frame-winning contribution.
Thank you. 56. $57. $64.
And there you go. That's how the match has changed. 236 points and counting without reply.
$65.
And the defending champion is up against it. Make no mistake.
$72.
Yeah, it just shows you no matter how good you are, nothing you can do when you're sitting in your seat. And that's what Barry's done. He's kept Ronnie in his seat, kept him cold.
73.
Some good stuff from the interval. Just wondering how much the pressure now changes onto Barry, being 5-4 up.
Well, it could do, but I've been very encouraged by this.
78.
I certainly would be if you were in Barry's camp, because this is the last 2 frames have been as fluent as he's been in the match.
79.
And as Stephen mentioned, you want to see win in 1 visit. Well, here it is. It's the best he's played all day at the most important time.
'84. 85. 88. 88. Barry Hawkins, 88.
Well, didn't make the century, but an absolutely excellent break of 88, just when he needed it. And Barry Hawkins puts his nose in front. He now leads by 5 frames to 4.
Barry Hawkins, what a turnaround in this match. He's won the last 3 in a row, and Ronnie O'Sullivan has not gone out in the opening round the last 32 of the UK Championship since 2010. And he's got a lot of work to do in order to not fall victim to that kind of stat. Stephen, what do you make of the way he's reacting to this, and what do you make of the turnaround in Barry Hawkins' attitude and game?
Oh, I mean, it's Barry that's found the gear, isn't it? Found the extra gear. He's really has... you know, frozen Ronnie out. It's exactly what happened actually in the Champions with Zhao Guodong. Ronnie went 3-0 up without losing a point. Then Zhao Guodong came back, won 3 frames without reply. It's exactly the same as happened here. So yeah, now Ronnie really does need to find something, because Barry's got huge momentum now. And can he... It'll be interesting to see, can he just get over that line quickly?
Yeah, exactly. And even the way he's playing, there's a briskness about it. He's up the pace. He looks much more comfortable out there.
Yeah, he's getting a bit of encouragement from his opponent, and that helps as well. And going back to what Stephen said about, not maybe playing that many tournaments, if you're a fraction rusty, I think John Parrott was mentioning it as well, that, you're not on it all the time in a match. But that is a problem, I think, for the older players. As they get older within the game, I think it's tough to keep the pressure up all the time. Who's to say that, Ronnie's just struggling a bit in that department? Maybe he needs to practice more, play more, but it's worked up until now.
What does the defending champion have left? Let's find out.
Yeah, that's what makes it fascinating, but what you can say, all credit to Barry Hawkins. 73, 75 and 88. Breaks in the last 3 frames. That'll help. Can he keep the momentum and get over the line?
Yeah, and you don't win everything that Ronnie's won in this game without being able to dig on. This is definitely a time he needs to do it. He needs to find something. Barry's definitely asking the questions, though. Brilliant safety from Ronnie. Perfect line and length.
Yeah, and that red that's closest to the right-hand side cushion has all of a sudden gone to the size of a beach ball. Because if you want to play the thin clip and get round it, you just know that red's going to be in the way. He really has played an excellent safety shot there. There is a gap behind that red, but it's fraught with danger. So maybe another shot coming up.
Yeah, and even if you get the gap, you need the perfect cue ball, or else you know you're going to be leaving that red that you're trying to get around. He's found the gap. Caught the brown. Oh, that's a nice little flick.
Yeah, I think he'll settle for that. He was in a pretty precarious position there, but he's done well. Now, there is a red on the right-hand side he can see.
I actually think he's left the gap. Going by Ronnie's body language, I think he's left the gap.
Tough pot, though. What's he get on?
Pink in the middle, full commitment. Where's this red going? Over the pocket for Barry. Not saying that was easy by any means, but I think he probably fully commits and pots it more often if he plays for the pink in the middle.
One.
It's not a great chance just yet. All that traffic around the black spot. There's a little too much angle on this pink as well. But it is a chance. Doesn't look like much, but that was a good shot. Across the nap, just dropping it in.
Just a bit.
7.
Dropping those balls in and, like, you know, a la Mark Williams, they are horrible shots, but that was made to play look easy. And a little screw stun here. Pink in the opposite corner. And
8.
This year's United Kingdom Championship certainly isn't Ronnie O'Sullivan's control. It's all about Barry Hawkins. There's nothing Ronnie can do sitting in his chair. He's just got to hope Barry misses.
Yeah, I've just seen that stat pop up with the pot success. Barry's up at 92% now. He was down at as low as 85. He said he had to get the early 90s to have a chance. And he's definitely given himself a chance.
15.
He'd like to get the red away from the pink, free the pink up into a few more pockets. I think he'd be playing for that straight away.
Yeah, it didn't. You could come. As long as you were slightly low there, it was fine just to drop this in, pink in the middle. He's having a look. That red does go as well, but it'll be the one in the corner and then the pink. The only thing that can possibly make it awkward, as you say, with him being left-handed, is just a leaning over. But
21. $27. 28.
Red is available. The two reds stuck together just below the pink. The one below that is in a gap. That's available for Barry. I'll have to take it now. He could just play the red in the middle, but has options. I decided to play the one in the middle. That one just up to the left in the black is available through the
34.
gap.
$35.
He's looking very, very good here. Saying that, I'd love to have had another roll on the cue ball just to go through for that loose red I've mentioned.
He needs an angle.
41.
Looks to be happy enough. Getting down quick. Got just enough angle to be able to punch up for the pink in the centre. Oh, he played that very, very well. He had more angle than I thought.
You can just punch this pink in as Ronnie O'Sullivan sits in his chair. Absolutely nothing he can do about it, but as I say, punch the pink in, come to the side cushion. That red's available. Played it in a way there where he'd leave himself two options, one for the red in the middle
48.
or the corner. This has just been fabulous stuff from Barry Hawkins, it really has. Just taking his time, quite rightly, Mark.
Yeah, I think this is the shot. If this goes in and he gets nicely on a colour. Looks good.
49.
He's just a little short again.
Yeah, one more roll on the cue ball. That's all he needed. Could have come off side cushion. Still, obviously, that red is near the top corner's in a good position, but he was planning on playing position another way, but this will do.
54.
Yeah, that was a good shot. Doesn't look like much, but make sure you're not cueing over the yellow. Shouldn't have any issues with this. And if he's dropping it in for the pink in the middle, he does not want to be straight.
55.
Needs the white to travel. And it hasn't.
Yeah, that was one of those travel or not, wasn't it? But certainly not straight. He wanted just to have an angle. He could have gone in and out of balk and come down, but why does it always happen when you're nearly at the point of no return?
Yeah, and how many times today has he landed there where he is now? Needs a bit of luck.
I don't think this is any good.
No.
I don't think this is any good. So it's not all over yet, folks.
60.
It's a very healthy lead and a really well played break up to the point of not getting on the blue correctly. But he won't be scoring any more points. What's he got left? Ronnie O'Sullivan. Well, he hasn't managed to win it in that visit, but that was an excellent contribution and a very good safety shot.
Just wondering if Barry can play a safety here in some way to try and get the black on the side cushion.
Yeah, it's also lovely to get round the angles, this, isn't it? Bit of a win-win shot, this one. Played it well. And a very good return as well. Nothing easy there. Surely he's not tempted by this, is he?
Just wondering if he thinks he can just pot it, hold the white where the red is, and give himself a shot at the black in the middle for the match. Could leave everything though.
Far from easy, that.
Thank you.
And the opening red is not very nice. As I say, this is easily missed. So he half did well not to get a double kiss.
It's a horrible shot, this, for Ronnie.
Big shot.
I'll tell you what, he's had a result where that white is finished.
That you cannot believe. How has it finished there? Completely hampered. That is incredible.
I think the ref called touching. It's not much consolation to Barry, but he might be able to put a colour safe.
That's a very good shout. Yeah, fan of that.
But you have to fully expect if Ronnie misses that red, you get an easy chance to win the match, but it's never that straightforward.
I can't quite tell whether he can see the brown, but maybe that red's in the way, because the brown would be nice to... Well, he can't, as you see there, but I'm liking the shout and putting the colour safe, Mark. Just wonder whether cross the face of the green, maybe. Push the green up and past the middle pocket. It's not a bad shout with a 60-point lead.
I think it's important here not to try too much. I think he's maybe looking at getting a colour safe and not leaving the red like nearest the bulk line. Just make sure you get a colour safe. If he brings that red off the cushion, so be it.
Yeah, I'd have been more interested in just getting the green safe there, really. It's just, for me, that was the priority. I mean, it's still down the table, and of course, it makes the clearance more awkward, but having it tight near the side cushion would have been more beneficial. Hello, where's the blue? Ooh.
At first glance here, it doesn't look like there's a good safety option for Barry.
Yep, put this one in the category of awkward. Brilliantly thought out and even better played.
What a key ball that is.
That was fabulous.
And he has left the pot on, but that is as good as he could have done from where he was. That was a great shot. What a shot. Hasn't potted the ball for nearly 50 minutes. What a shot that is. Unlucky not to be on the blue, but still has the brown. Can't hit a ball any better than that. That little flick has meant that he's not on the 1-2 out from the cushion. He's going to have to take the much more difficult one. A lot of pressure on this. Yeah, that was far from easy.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 5.
Another chance for Barry. Red on the colour. Red and high valued colour.
Yeah,
believe
may
Ronnie
just even
O'Sullivan
be able
used
to play this, just dropping it in, Mark. Can't
Thank you. It's
just
enough.
drop it in and maybe play black in the middle. I don't know whether he can hold it and it'll go in the corner. But either way, what a chance this is for frame and match. Just picking up the angle. Well, it does go in the corner. He could hold it. It's there.
Eight.
63 ahead. 59 on the table. Just make absolutely sure. Roll this red in the middle pocket. And that will be shake hands time. And what a performance this will be from Barry Hawkins as the red goes in. And that's enough. Ronnie O'Sullivan says well played. An absolutely fabulous turnaround in this match. The defending champion is out, but Barry Hawkins, what a victory that was. Breaks of 73, 75 and 88, and that wonderful contribution in the final frame. And Barry Hawkins is through. He'd only beaten Ronnie O'Sullivan twice in 20 matches. Well, there's number 3. Well played, Barry Hawkins. He wins by 6 frames to 4.
Yeah, and after a run of 4 consecutive defeats against the Rocket, it's Barry Hawkins who knocks out the defending champion, no longer the defending champion. The Rocket is gone, the man who dominated last season. And I wonder, you can tell us and you can gauge how big a surprise that is today, given the circumstances he found himself in at 3-1 down.
Yeah, it's very strange how lightning has struck twice in these last 2 tournaments for Ronnie O'Sullivan. As I mentioned a couple of times, 3-0 up against Zhao Guodong, best of 7. Basically loses the rest of the frames for no reply.
Last week,
and it's happened again there.
Yes.
Virtually no reply. So it's when you're used to so much success, you'd be thinking what's happened there, and all these doubts come in. Are you the player? Are you the strength you were, and all that? Look, he's not played much snooker. Maybe he is a little bit match rusty. He's got a new coach. He's working on new things. Maybe you got to cut him some slack and say maybe he's work. But the credit goes to Barry Hawkins.
Totally.
He found gears at the end that was just so impressive.
Yeah, it was a fantastic performance, Barry. He should be very proud of himself today, because it is tough when somebody's been dominating you year after year. There's an extra hurdle to get over, and I think it's a big fillip for your game. It can boost you no end doing that. On occasions, I played Stephen in tournaments towards the end of my career, and I beat him in one. And I think in the UK here, I was so happy. He would looked as miserable as usual, but it's really nice when you've had some. Yeah, but it's great for Barry.
Well, there's one man who's not looking miserable, and it's Mr. Hawkins. Barry, come on in. Congratulations, sir. Well done. Well done. We've just been talking about your record against this man, and the fact that you hadn't beaten him for a while. Goodness me. What did you find at 3-1 down?
I'm not sure. I don't know really. I just thought try and just keep at him and. Try and be a bit aggressive, and I managed to find a bit of form and not start feeling good. Then I felt good at the start. To be fair, I missed a couple middle distance balls. He punished me, and I just thought just stick at him and just don't give up. And I found a bit of rhythm, and then that was it. All of a sudden, I got in the zone then a little bit, It's
funny. So we weren't exactly ripping you to pieces, but we were. The storyline. Well,
just a little bit.
The storyline looked like it was going to be the same old story, and you must have felt that out there as well.
I've let myself down so many times, I feel, when I've played Ronnie. I've just given him too much respect all the time. And more often than not, he's played well, but he's had some stinkers as well, and I've not took advantage, I've crumbled under the pressure, really. So that's a massive win for me today. I know Ronnie's not played in everything, but he looked like he's still hitting it well, at the start of the match. So
2 centuries, yeah.
Yeah, and I've kept him out, really, I think, towards the end. So massive win for me, really.
I was going to say, when you got 4-3, you were winning frames, but not scrappy frames, not in one visit. The next frame you did win in one visit. Did that completely change your mindset, or the way you felt?
Yeah, I potted a good long red straight away and got on a black, and then I think, I can't remember what break I had, and maybe I won the frame, but you know, it's like just a couple of shots. You feel like, oh, you start hitting it, and I felt
'Cause that's the way you
a bit
put
more
pressure on him,
confident.
keep him in his chair.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I just towards the end, and I felt all right. I felt all right out there. So it's good. I'm over the moon, really.
It is. And actually, we were talking about you going to the interval and going to the practice room. Was there anything in particular that you decided to work on, or was it just to get yourself back into a rhythm again, Barry?
Yeah, just keep hitting balls, really. You know, he had a couple of centuries, and I didn't have loads of table time, I don't think. But yeah, just pass the time, really. Hit a few balls. Sometimes I don't. Depends where the match is going. But I just thought I'd go and hit a few balls, and yeah. Don't know if it worked or not, but...
And there was a moment in the game, doesn't always count for much, but there was a moment when Ronnie missed that red into the middle pocket and then sort of banged the table a bit. There are turning points in games, but when you see the other person just a little bit frustrated, it does give you a bit of a boost.
Yeah, it did give me a bit of a boost. What score was that at? Was it 4-2 maybe? Was it to go
It was, it was.
So it was a big frame.
Frame 7 it was, yeah.
He doesn't normally do that, does he? You know, he buries you and runs away with it, but yeah, I thought when he missed that, you know, I just thought, right, knuckle down and... try and keep him under pressure and just start playing a bit better, you know. Yeah, because like I say, so many times I've let myself down, I feel, and just crumbled. But yeah, today I felt like I played all right.
I was reminding everybody about that epic win that you had against him at the Crucible all these years ago and how important it was, Barry. But this is one of these events. You've been brilliant in Triple Crown events, 2 Masters finals and a World Championship final. This is the one that you've just never got on with.
No.
What's been the problem about the UK Championship? You know?
I'm not sure. I think I got to the semis and then Xing Tong beat me. Played fantastic, but I'm not sure really. You know, some venues you just come and you enjoy playing, and this one's never been one where I've had many runs here. But yeah, you know, you never know. You know, I'll beat Ronnie now, so you just don't know what can happen, do you?
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be Zhang Guodong or Dave Gilbert in the next round. But, you know, you're, 45 years of age now, Barry? Yeah. You've been in this game a very long time. And you've always been knocking on the door in terms of these major events. You've won 4 world ranking titles. We've all always admired everything you've done. And I just feel, when you think about the perspective that you've got on the game, there's lots of stuff happens off the table, life gets in the way a lot of the time, but where are you now with your game and your life and how happy you are playing?
Yeah, with my game, I feel like I'm all right. I feel like that performance feels like it's been coming for a little while. I feel like I've been bubbling, you know. if I'm ultra critical, I feel like I should finish the frames off a bit more often, you know, get a few more centuries. I could have had a few more centuries there, and like that frame there, really, I should have finished the match off. Lucky for me, Ronnie missed a couple, but you know, against someone like Ronnie, sometimes he punishes, and he's done it to me loads of times. So, but I feel like my game's there. It's all about confidence with me and self-belief. It always has been. So that'll give me hopefully a bit of confidence, you know. And yeah, as I say, off the table, family's good. Yeah, been through a little bit, but other stuff going on. But yeah, no, it's not affecting my game.
Absolutely. OK, well, it's just great to see the way you held yourself together, and you really crossed the line very strongly there, Barry. A lot of confidence from it, and we'll see you in the next round. OK. All right, the defending champion is no more. Ronnie has gone, and he is now with Shamnan Yunus-Jewel for chat.
Ronnie, it's amazing how a game of snooker can change. What went wrong for you out there?
I don't really know, really. I don't really want to analyse it. I just think Barry played a good game. He didn't seem to get much of a chance from 4-2, I think. I missed a red in the middle, and then from that moment onwards, he kind of kept me out, really. So, got no complaints, really.
You seemed to punch the table when you missed that red. Was it a bit of frustration for you?
Yeah, because that was kind of like game ball, really. You know, important ball, 4-2 up. Good chance, you know. Felt like I was a little bit in control of the match then, but then you miss silly balls. The game never forgives you. So, snooker, that's what snooker will do to you.
Stephen Hendry said in commentary that he felt you possibly could be a bit rusty because you haven't played that many tournaments. What would you say to that?
Possibly, but I'll leave it up to the experts, and I'll just keep doing what I'm doing, and yeah.
What do you go away and do? Anything differently?
Just, I don't know, really. Just keep plodding away, don't you?
Thanks a lot, Ronnie.
Okay, good. Cheers.
And of course, Ronnie will be back to defend his Masters title.
Under the bus there, didn't you?
You're the expert, mate. You're the expert. So, what's the expert's take on it all then? What do you think? How does he reset from this? Because the first time since 2010 that he's not been in the top 16, well, the last 16 of this championship.
Yeah, look, I mean, we're saying rusty. Like, he had a year off and won the World Championship, but he was a lot. That was 20 years ago. It was a long time ago. He's a lot younger man, obviously. I just think, you know, he's 49 now. Mark Williams, and I don't think it's as easy anymore to find those gears, possibly. So who knows?
Yeah, nothing to prove.
No.
Ronnie's got nothing to prove. It can only get more difficult for Ronnie O'Sullivan if he wants to carry on in the game, because he's getting older and the players are improving all the time and there's more of them. And that's what he's got to deal with. So I think he's pretty philosophical about things. And I think, maybe he's rusty. But on the other hand, if he played in every tournament, it just may shorten his lifespan within the game. So that's the dilemma he has.
Yes, absolutely. And I think in terms of his attitude towards things, he said at the beginning of the programme that if he doesn't win today, if he doesn't win a title, then he's found a way of dealing with that. And he's also said earlier in the season, Stephen, that because he's not dominating to the same extent, that is a very organic process as you get older. But how tough is it to deal with? You both went through it.
Yeah, I mean, there's 1 minute where everyone's looking at you and the expectation is huge. Then obviously you start dropping a bit, and then maybe people are starting to doubt you. You're hearing doubtful from us, from everyone, and it's not, I didn't enjoy it. I wanted to be still with all the expectation. But Ronnie's got a lot more going on than I ever did off the table. So I think as Steve says, very philosophical.
Yeah, and if he does enjoy the challenge, what an underdog! How tough would he be to beat as an underdog?
Yeah, absolutely, an underdog, a very, very dangerous underdog. Progress from Barry Hawkins, and we talk about Ronnie all the time, but how much could he achieve with the fillip and the confidence boost of having beaten the Rocket here?
Well, that has to give you huge confidence doing that. But you go to the next round, you've got to keep it going, and that's what sometimes Barry hasn't done. He's had great results and then gone and not played as well in the next round. It's about keeping that going. But that was if that was a fantastic, world-class finish to a match.
Yes, it was indeed. And we will be back very shortly, guys, because